Chapter 920. 920 Breaking the Formation. I know. Don't worry. I'll look after her. Lu Ming won't have a chance. Rowley nodded. Zongzi, you're so powerful. At the side, the talisman sect's disciples cast Lu Ming looks of admiration. Some of them had already been trying to break the array for several days and knew how difficult it was to break it. In the past few days, many talisman puppet sect disciples had been killed by the array. However, after Lu Ming came, he had only observed for a short while and he had already broken a few large arrays. They knew that Lu Ming's understanding of formations far surpassed theirs. Lu Ming continued to watch. This time he spent even less time. He waved his fingers and another array collapsed in front of him. Lu Ming realized that the formations that appeared in this world during the Battle of Providence were not particularly advanced, difficult, or beyond their abilities. It was as if he was doing this on purpose to give them a chance to gain experience. Lu Ming was filled with curiosity about the Battle of Providence. He had a feeling that there was a pair of invisible hands behind the scenes that were controlling everything. He shook his head in his heart. These things were not something he could think about now. It was useless even if he thought about it. It was said that the Battle of Providence was taking place in the other continents overseas. To be able to control the endless mainland to participate in the Battle of Providence. What was the use of thinking about such an extraordinary ability? Even a martial royal realm expert would train his sect's geniuses obediently in order to obtain the light from Providence. Don't those martial emperors want to find out the secret behind it? Of course they wanted to, but they just didn't have the ability to. Lu Ming cast aside the distracting thoughts in his mind and continued to crack the array. His speed of breaking the formation was very fast. As he broke the formation he walked in. In just a day's time they had advanced 3,000 meters. The little demon lord and the rest followed closely behind Lu Ming. Their eyes were burning with passion. This ruin was filled with so many formations. It must be extraordinary. The treasures inside must be extraordinary. If he could get it, it would be a great opportunity. Moreover, he would probably have a lot of luck value. They all revealed looks of anticipation. However, after that, Lu Ming's speed of breaking the array slowed down. The deeper he went, the more complicated the array was and the harder it was to crack. It took them 2 days to advance another 3,000 meters. He was still 4,000 meters away from the palace. Lu Ming spent a total of 5 days on the last 4,000 meters. In total, Lu Ming had been breaking the array for 8 days. At this time, they were only about 100 meters away from the palace. But here they stopped. In front of him, the formation glowed. There were flames, ice, lightning, poison gas, and so on that flickered continuously, blocking his line of sight. He couldn't see what was ahead at all. Lu Ming had been standing there for 3 hours. Lu Ming, what are you doing? Why aren't you breaking the formation? The little demon lord berated. I can't break the formation here. Lu Ming shook his head. You can't break it. The little demon lord and the others were stunned. Lu Ming, you'd better think of a way to crack it. Otherwise, none of you from the Talisman Amulet sect will be able to leave this place. You'll all die here. The little demon lord said coldly. Idiot. Lu Ming looked at the little demon lord and suddenly berated him. You. What did you just say? You bastard, what did you say? The little demon lord roared. Lu Ming actually called him an idiot? He was furious. What are you if not an idiot? I said I can't break it, but that doesn't mean we can't go in. In the Tao of formations where there is death, there is life. As long as you find a way out, there is no need to break it, you can go straight. You don't even know this common sense. If you're not an idiot, what are you? Lu Ming sneered. You. The little demon lord's face turned red and he almost vomited blood. If not for the fact that he needed Lu Ming now, he would have killed him with one palm. Bastard, just you wait. Once we enter the palace, I'll kill all of these symbol puppet sect disciples and enjoy this woman in front of you. The little demon lord roared in his heart, his eyes extremely cold. Lu Ming, you've been watching for so long. Have you found a way out? Brother Lydian asked. Over there. Lu Ming pointed forward. Brother Lydian's expression changed. Lu Ming, are you kidding me? Brother Lydian said with a dark expression. The direction that Lu Ming was pointing at was a sea of fire. The terrifying flames were burning. One look at it and it was terrifying. That's the way out. If you don't believe me, you can send someone first. You'll know once you try. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Do you think we're stupid? Let your talisman amulet sect go first. The little demon lord shouted coldly. Not bad. Let your talisman amulet sect go first. The seventh sanguine sword also said coldly. Lu Ming's expression turned ugly. You guys go first. Lu Ming said to the talisman amulet sect disciples. The talisman sect's disciples looked at each other and saw the flames in front of them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Let's go, Zongzi won't harm us. Hai Fei took the lead and walked forward, followed by Lu Guang. The rest of the talisman amulet sect's disciples followed behind and stepped into the sea of fire. The moment they stepped into the sea of fire distorted and the figures of the talisman amulet sect's disciples disappeared. It's really a way out. Hurry up and follow them. Don't let those talisman amulet sect disciples escape. The little demon lord hurriedly ordered. A few geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace led more than 10 men of sacrifice and rushed into the sea of fire. However, as soon as they rushed into the sea of fire, they let out shrill screams and were burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. The power of that flame was incomparably terrifying. What's going on? Damn it, Lu Ming, you're cheating. You're looking for death. The little demon lord immediately roared. Brother Lydian, the seventh sanguine sword, and the others also exuded a terrifying killing intent that enveloped Lu Ming. What do you mean I cheated? You're just too impatient. The formations here are overlapping and constantly changing. The path of survival is also constantly changing. It was a path of survival just now, but now it's a path of death. It's normal. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Why didn't you say so earlier? The little demon lord roared. You didn't ask me. Why should I say it? And didn't I ask your people to go first? I was planning to send a batch of your people in first, and after the path of survival changes, find another path of survival, and then send another batch in. You were the one who insisted on letting the talisman amulet sect's disciples leave first. Then, before I could even say anything, your people rushed forward. Who can you blame? Lu Ming pursed his lips and looked at the little demon lord in disdain. The little demon lord trembled with anger. All right, Lu Ming, can you find a new way to survive? Brother Li Tian frowned. At the same time they paid more attention to Bai Qixue. Now the talisman sect only Bai Qixue in their hands. Lu Ming continued to watch. A moment later he pointed at a place full of lightning and said, That's the way out. Let's set off from there. You guys go first. The little demon lord pointed at a few men of sacrifice. If you want to leave, then leave a little more, don't leave in groups. The more this formation operates, the more changes it will have. After a while, even I won't be able to break it. Lu Ming said. Chapter 921. 921 Toying with the Paragons. All of you come with us. Don't worry, with us here he won't dare to play any tricks. The young demonic lord pointed at some of the paragons. The seventh blood sword, the paragons of the heavenly demon valley, and the others had also arranged for a group of people to rush in according to the path Lu Ming had pointed. Sure enough, as soon as those people rushed into the lightning area, their figures flickered and they disappeared one after another. Only then did Brother Lydian and the others look a little better. After that, Lu Ming continued to watch and look for a way out. After a while, Lu Ming pointed to an area covered with ice and said, Let's go through this road. However, the little demonic lord, Brother Lydian, and the seventh sanguine sword did not move. These most powerful geniuses did not trust Lu Ming. If what Lu Ming said was false, wouldn't they die an unjust death if they went in? Although they had Bai Qixue with them, they had to be very careful when it came to their own lives. I think it would be best if we go in together. The little demon lord looked at Lu Ming and pushed Bai Qixue forward slowly. Brother Lydian and the rest nodded. That was for the best. If there was a trap, Lu Ming and Bai Qixue would be in danger. That's for the best. You and Qixue go first, I'll walk in the middle. You guys can rest assured this way. Lu Ming took a few steps to the side, seemingly wanting to make way. Good. Lu Ming, you'd better not play any tricks. Otherwise, both of you will lose your lives. The little demon lord said coldly. He held Bai Qixue's shoulder and walked forward. Lu Ming stood there without moving. The little demon lord was relieved and walked toward the ice area. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, the ground glowed, and a formation appeared out of nowhere. A few sharp sword chi stabbed toward the little demon lord's forehead, fast as lightning. The little demon lord's heart had just relaxed when he didn't expect such a move. Subconsciously, he let go and retreated to protect himself. Buzz. At this moment, Lu Ming moved. His body was like a stream of light as he rushed toward the little demon lord. A terrifying fist force bombarded the little demon lord like a storm. Lu Ming. The little demonic lord roared angrily and slashed out with his palm. Bang. The little demonic lord's figure retreated repeatedly. Damn it, block the exit. Brother Lydian, Blood Sword 7, Blood Sword 9, and the elites of the Sky Demon Valley all roared in anger. One of the elites of the Sky Demon Valley was the fastest and was the closest to the ice region. His figure flashed and he appeared at the entrance of the ice region to prevent Lu Ming from entering. The rest of the people made their moves and charged toward Lu Ming. Brother Lydian, Blood Sword 7, Blood Sword 9, and the Sky Demon Valley's demon race prodigy were all at the 4th level of the Spirit Embryo realm. Especially Brother Lydian and the 7th Sanguine Sword, who had reached the peak of the 4th level of the Spirit Embryo realm. With all of them joining forces, their power was terrifying as if they were going to crush Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming did not hesitate to release 5 bursts of dragon power. His body was filled with power. Qi Shui, go to the poisonous area. Lu Ming pulled by Qi Shui and pushed her into the poisonous zone. In front of the toxic area, no one stopped him. Lu Ming was lying when he said that the icy area was the way out. In fact, the poisonous area was the way out. His purpose was to distract the other party's attention. Bai Qishua's figure disappeared into the poisonous zone. Nobody could stop her. Damn it. Brother Lydian and the others knew that they had been tricked. Boom. Boom. As he pushed Bai Qishue away, Lu Ming threw out a few punches in a row to block Brother Lydian and the others, buying time and waiting for the escape route to change. Everyone exchanged blows, and the terrifying light drowned Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated. Ah, damn it, stop him. The little demonic lord roared and charged at Lu Ming. It was the truth. He did not dare to rush into the poisonous zone now. Who knew if there would be any changes to the way out? He could only capture Lu Ming and ask him to lead the way. Bang. Bang. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and a formation appeared. He then punched out with both fists, sending out terrifying fist forces. He used his formation and martial arts to block the many heavens favorites. Lu Ming, you won't be able to leave today. So what if you've saved the people of the Talisman sect? You have to stay too. Brother Li Tian's eyes were cold. A flaming sword appeared in his hand, and it was emitting a shocking heat. This was Li Fire, an extremely terrifying flame, not inferior to the Wang family's purple extreme heavenly fire. At the same time, Blood Sword 7 and Blood Sword 9's bodies glowed with a blood-red light. The blood-red sword light exuded a strong bloody aura, cutting through the void and slashing at Lu Ming. One of the Sky Demon Valley's elites transformed into a fierce tiger. His claws were like heavenly blades, cutting through the space and clawing at him. At the same time, the attacks of the little demon lord and a green-robed genius of the heavenly monster tribe arrived. When the 6 paragons joined forces, their power was shocking. The 6 of them attacked Lu Ming from different directions. Lu Ming did not take it head-on. Instead, he rushed in the direction of Blood Sword 9, who seemed to be the weakest. Boom. The punch landed on the blood-colored sword radiance. Blood Sword 9's body trembled violently and he continued to retreat. Lu Ming strode forward and dodged the attacks of the various geniuses. He ran towards the lightning zone at top speed. Not good. The lightning zone is the way out. He wants to go in. Stop him. Li Tianhe roared. Roar. The tiger roared and pounced on Lu Ming at top speed. However, Lu Ming's body paused and he retreated abruptly, avoiding the tiger's attack and dodging to the other side. Stay here. The little demonic lord shouted angrily, and the black saber light slashed at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's body paused again. Like a slippery loach, he dodged the little demonic lord's attack in a flash and dodged to the other side. His body was extremely agile, charging left and right, not fighting them head-on at all. In addition, they had to guard against the escape route and the array in front of them to prevent Lu Ming from breaking out of the encirclement. They were distracted and could not do anything to Lu Ming. Damn it. The 6 heavens favorites were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. As for the others, they could not stop Lu Ming at all. Once Lu Ming crashed into them, their bones were broken and their tendons snapped, sending them flying far away. Buzz. Lu Ming's figure flashed again and he rushed to the flame area. They thought that the flame area was the way out and hurriedly stopped him. However, Lu Ming's figure suddenly turned and he rushed toward the poisonous area. This time, Lu Ming shook them off and stepped into the poisonous zone. In a flash, his figure disappeared. This is the way out, charge in. The green-robed young man from the Sky Demon Valley was the fastest. He followed closely behind Lu Ming and rushed into the poisonous zone. However, as soon as he rushed into the poisonous area, he immediately let out a blood-curdling scream and turned into a green divine eagle. He only managed to rush out after using all his strength, but his entire body was green. He had already been poisoned. If not for his profound cultivation and powerful combat strength, he would have died inside. It was obvious that Lu Ming had been walking in circles with them just now to calculate the time. He had calculated the time well, and just as the time for the poisonous zone to become a path of survival was about to run out, Lu Ming rushed in. When the green-robed young man followed him in, the path of life had changed into a path of death. Lu Ming had already calculated all of this. Damn you, Lu Ming. Bastard beast, I'll kill you. The little demon lord let out an angry roar. Chapter 922. 922 Test, Precious Treasure. The rest of the people had ugly expressions on their faces as well. So many people had witnessed it, but in the end, Lu Ming had saved all the Talisman sect disciples. They could not even stop Lu Ming himself. If word of this got out, they would be embarrassed. Since the paths of life and death here are constantly changing, let's try them one by one. There are only 9 regions in total anyway. Brother Lydian said coldly. Yes, that's the only way. You go to the flame area, you go to the ice area. Immediately, Blood Sword 17 began to give orders to the men of sacrifice. The 9 regions were constantly changing. That was easy to handle. As long as 9 men of sacrifice stepped into the 9 regions at the same time, they would naturally know which region was the path of survival. The 9 men of sacrifice stepped into the 9 regions at the same time without hesitation. 8 of them died immediately, leaving only 1 man alive in the black fog. He disappeared in a flash. There's a way out, charge. The little demonic lord and the others all rushed into the black mist and disappeared. After Lu Ming stepped into the poisonous zone, he appeared in front of a palace in the next moment. There was no one in sight. The Talisman sect's disciples who had entered earlier, as well as the disciples from the other factions, did not see them either. It seems that the formation was randomly teleported to any corner of the palace. Lu Ming pondered. I hope that Qi Shui and the others don't run into the little demon lord and the others. Lu Ming knew very well that the array would not be able to stop the little demon lord and the rest. He only needed to send 9 people to try. Lu Ming immediately sized up his surroundings. There were palaces everywhere, and between the palaces, there were some small alleys. Following that, Lu Ming walked into the palace in front of him. There was nothing in the palace. It was empty. Shaking his head, Lu Ming walked along a small alley toward the other palaces. However, after walking for a while, he frowned. He realized that he had stepped into an array. This formation was like a maze because after walking in his alley for a while, he returned to the original place. There was also a formation in the palace. Lu Ming was not shocked. Instead, he was happy. It was good to have an array formation. It was an advantage for the Talisman sect's disciples. Even if they encountered the little demonic lord and the others, they might have a chance to escape. Lu Ming immediately observed his surroundings carefully. After a while, Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile. He took mysterious steps and walked forward. Half an hour later, he had walked out of the maze. In front of him, a huge palace appeared. The palace gate was tightly shut. Lu Ming went forward and pushed the door open. He walked in. The palace was empty, but there was a stone door in the innermost part. Lu Ming walked towards the stone door. Whoosh, whoosh. All of a sudden, sharp air-piercing sounds were heard from both sides. 2 rays of saber light were slashing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure moved and dodged backward, avoiding the 2 saber lights. However, the 2 saber lights continued to slash at Lu Ming. A puppet. At this moment, Lu Ming realized that it was 2 puppets that were attacking him. The 2 puppets were in human form. Their bodies had a metallic luster and their eyes were golden. They were filled with a cold and emotionless aura. Each of them held a big knife in their hands and they slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique. 4 types of concepts swirled around his palms as he struck out twice. Clang, clang. With 2 loud bangs, the 2 puppets were forced to retreat by Lu Ming. It's equivalent to the peak of the 3rd level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The two puppets were pushed back by Lu Ming. They stomped their feet and charged at Lu Ming again. Buzz. Lu Ming dodged and struck out two more palms. The two palms directly hit the two puppets, and the two puppets were smashed into pieces. Lu Ming strode forward and walked towards the stone door. No puppet came out to stop him. Lu Ming pushed the stone door open. There was a stone room in front of him. There was another stone door in front of the stone room. However, as soon as Lu Ming stepped into the stone chamber, two more puppets appeared and charged at him. This time, the strength of the two puppets had reached the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. It was still easily dealt with by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped forward and pushed the stone door open. Behind the stone door was another stone room, and in front of the stone room was another stone door. This time, a total of 9 4th-level spirit embryo realm puppets appeared. What's in front of us? These trials are like tests. I'd like to go and take a look. Lu Ming's mind raced as he launched an attack. In a short while, the 9 puppets were scattered by him. Sure enough, there were stone rooms below and there were puppets in each room and they were getting stronger and stronger. When Lu Ming reached the 9th stone chamber, the puppet that appeared had already reached the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, they could not stop Lu Ming and they were defeated by him one by one. After the 9th stone chamber, there were no more stone chambers. Instead, there was a passage. On both sides of the passage, there were metal puppets standing motionless with sabers in their hands. Nest, also, what level of strength do the puppets here have? They can't all be at the 7th level spirit embryo realm, right? Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. He slowly walked forward. Gotcha. All of a sudden, one of the puppets moved. Its cold, metallic eyes glared at Lu Ming. Bang. He took a step forward, the saber in his hand exuding a sharp light, and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming burst out with 5 streams of dragon energy and threw a punch at the puppet. Bang. With a dull thud, the puppet and Lu Ming were forced to take 6 or 7 steps back. Whoa, this is definitely a puppet at the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. What powerful strength. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. You're pretty strong to be able to force me back. At this moment, the puppet suddenly spoke. However, its voice was cold and emotionless. What's inside? Lu Ming asked. There's a precious treasure inside. There will be tests along the way. Our strength will be adjusted according to the strength of the people who enter. The stronger the cultivation, the stronger we will be. Only if you pass the test will you be able to obtain the precious treasure inside. The puppet spoke, similarly emotionless. There are so many puppets equivalent to the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. How can I defeat them all? Are you kidding me? Lu Ming looked at both sides of the passage. There were more than 100 puppets in total. He was speechless. With his current combat strength, how was it possible for him to defeat hundreds of puppets at the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm? If he were to burst out with his strongest battle strength and circulate the prison-suppressing heavenly art to its strongest, it was still possible to defeat 2 or 3 of them. However, after that, he would run out of true chi and would no longer be able to fight. This test was too difficult. He was only at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, and the puppet that appeared was actually at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm, which was 5 levels higher than him. How many people could complete it? There's no need for you to defeat all of us. You just need to pass through this passage. The puppet spoke again. Chapter 923. 923 Chapter 923 Difficult Challenge. I just need to pass. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Passing and defeating were 2 different concepts. If he just had to pass, it would be much easier. Lu Ming carefully sized up the passage in front of him. Suddenly, he waved his finger, and all kinds of runes and formations appeared on his body. They were all support type, and with the array, Lu Ming's abilities had increased again. He moved and rushed toward the passage. He planned to catch them off guard and rush through the passage in one go. However, the puppets seemed to have known that he was going to attack. When Lu Ming moved, the puppets moved as well, and the sharp saber light slashed at Lu Ming. On both sides of the passage, the other puppets' cold gazes were also directed at Lu Ming. Nest, your reaction is so fast. Since the surprise attack had failed, Lu Ming could only force his way in with his actual combat strength. Buzz. He dodged the first puppet's saber light and flashed past its side, but what greeted him was even more saber light. Lu Ming punched continuously, clashing with the few sabers that were slashing at him. The powerful force made Lu Ming's body tremble, and the saber light was also hit back by Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming used the 9 Dragons' heaven-stomping steps and charged forward. Unfortunately, the space was too narrow. He could not unleash the power of the 9 Dragons' heaven-stomping steps. He had just moved when the saber light in front of him slashed toward him. It surrounded Lu Ming and sealed off all the space. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He could only wave his fists continuously and bombard the air. Even with the aid of the formation, it was still very difficult to advance. These were all puppets made of a strange metal. They were impenetrable and extremely hard. The most shocking thing was that they could use martial arts techniques. A puppet was more difficult to deal with than a human warrior of the same level. Lu Ming charged forward repeatedly, but he could only break through the encirclement of more than 10 puppets. There were still 80 to 90 puppets ahead. I don't believe that I can't make it. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. With a dragon's roar, the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. Lu Ming performed the bloodline fusion and turned into a 2-meter-long 9 dragon. Its 9 dragon claws swiped in all directions, sweeping away the saber light. After transforming into the 9 dragons, his combat strength had increased again, and the speed of his charge had increased once again. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying rumbles came from the tunnel and reverberated in the air. After a full half an hour, Lu Ming successfully rushed through the passage. As soon as they rushed through the passage, the puppets quieted down and stood on the 2 sides of the passage, motionless. I'm so tired. Lu Ming sat on the ground, panting heavily. Lu Ming's essential core was completely depleted after he rushed through the passage. Fortunately, he gritted his teeth and charged through in one go. Otherwise, he would have vomited blood. The difficulty was too high. How could an ordinary genius pass? However, Lu Ming began to look forward to it. The greater the difficulty, the greater the harvest. What kind of treasure would be inside? The puppet had said earlier that there was a precious treasure inside. Lu Ming's eyes were burning with passion. Let's first recover my true qi. Lu Ming took out a pile of raw gemstones and started to recover his essential core. 3 hours later, Lu Ming's essential core had recovered to its peak and he was filled with energy again. Then Lu Ming stepped forward. Buzz. He had only walked a few dozen meters when dense inscriptions appeared on the ground, forming a large array. It condensed into flaming dragons that pounced at Lu Ming. There's still a test. Is there an end to it? Lu Ming was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. He could only clench his fists and bombard the air continuously. Boom, boom. After a few consecutive explosions, Lu Ming retreated rapidly. This formation is so powerful. It's even more powerful than the golems from before. How am I supposed to pass through it? Lu Ming took a few steps back and a grave look flashed in his eyes. The flood dragon formed by the formation was too powerful, exceeding the power of the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. Furthermore, this was only the appearance of a single formation. There would definitely be more in front of him. This test was truly too difficult. Wait, I don't have to force my way through the formation. I can break it with the Tao of Inscription. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Formations were different from puppets. Puppets could not be controlled by others, but formations could be broken. Lu Ming immediately looked at it carefully. After a while, he waved his hands repeatedly. Runes appeared and entered the formation. With a bang, the formation collapsed. Lu Ming took a step forward, but another formation appeared in front of him. Lu Ming continued to carve runes to break it. However, at this moment, under his feet, where he had just broken the formation, another formation appeared. Damn, didn't we already crack it? Why is there a new one? Lu Ming was depressed. He could only continue to inscribe runes to speed up the cracking. Bang. The formation in front collapsed, but there were attacks coming from behind. Lu Ming had no choice but to use all his strength to resist the attacks and break the formation at the same time. Just as he was breaking it, the formation that he had just broken appeared again. Lu Ming really wanted to vomit blood. This array would be condensed again after it was cracked. What else could he do? He had no choice but to grit his teeth and continue. In this way, Lu Ming blocked and cracked the attacks at the same time. This process lasted for a full 6 hours. Lu Ming was already half dead from exhaustion. He had used up a lot of his essential core and even his mental energy fire was almost completely depleted. This won't do. There's no end to this formation. I'll break one and another will appear. It's impossible to break all of them. I'd better leave. I'll be in danger once my true essence is exhausted. Lu Ming's mind was racing. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly realized that the array that he had just deciphered did not reappear. Could it be that the energy to activate the formation has been used up, and I can't continue to form the formation? Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up and he looked excited. He continued to break the formation. As expected, the next array that he had to crack would not appear. Since it would not reappear, it was much easier for Lu Ming. Not long after, he had cracked all the arrays and stepped into a secret room. No, I'm so tired. I'd better rest and recover first. Lu Ming panted heavily. He sat cross-legged, took out the rough stone, and began to regulate his breathing. A few hours later, he had fully recovered his true essence, but his mental energy fire was still very dim. Just now, his mental fire had been severely depleted, and it was almost completely depleted. Lu Ming activated the meditation and started to restore his mental energy fire. In this world, not only was the spiritual qi extremely rich, but the conception of heaven and earth was also very clear. Even sensing the nomological laws was much easier. By circulating his mental cultivation method, he could easily absorb the power of inscription in the inscription laws and increase the strength of his mental fire. After half a day, Lu Ming's mental energy fire became vigorous again. He had completely recovered. At this moment, Lu Ming stood up and sized up the secret room. This time there were no puppets or formations in the way. He seemed to have reached the end. In the middle of the secret room, there was a picture scroll floating in the air. Chapter 924. 924 Mountain and River Diagram. Don't tell me this is the treasure inside. Lu Ming's eyes sparkled with great anticipation. Lu Ming strode forward and observed the surroundings. After ensuring that there was no danger, he reached out and grabbed the drawing. What kind of treasure is this? Lu Ming sized it up. It looked very ordinary. Then he opened the painting scroll. The first thing that came into view was a line of words. It was the mountain and river diagram, a treasure of the heavenly abode. At the sight of this line of words, Lu Ming's heart started to beat faster and his breathing became a little rushed. A grotto heaven treasure? It was actually a legendary grotto heaven treasure? Legend had it that an Eden treasure contained an alternate world. In other words, there was a world within the Eden treasure. There were mountains, rivers, wind, rain, lightning, and thunder. It was like a small world and living beings could enter it to live and cultivate. In the divine wilderness continent, there were only legends of grotto heaven treasures, but no one had ever seen one. Not even the Imperial Tao experts had one. Lu Ming quickly opened the scroll. The scroll was more than 2 meters long. A vast picture appeared in front of Lu Ming. The vast mountain range and the mountain peaks that rose into the clouds were endless, as if a real world came into view. At this moment, Lu Ming had an idea and the Book of Destiny appeared before him. A line of words appeared on the Book of Destiny. You've obtained the mountain and river diagram, a grotto heaven treasure. Your luck points have increased by 100,000. Lu Ming's heart started to beat rapidly again. After obtaining the mountain and river diagram, his luck value had actually increased by 100,000. It was simply terrifying. In the past 2 months, Lu Ming had only obtained slightly more than 10,000 points of luck. Then another line of words appeared on the Book of Destiny. It could only be used after being condensed with blood. He was probably talking about the mountain and river diagram. With a thought, the Book of Destiny disappeared. Lu Ming studied the mountain and river diagram for a while, then forced a few drops of blood from his fingertips and dripped them on the mountain and river diagram. The blood landed on the mountain and river diagram and was immediately absorbed by it, disappearing. Lu Ming then injected his essential core and began to refine the mountain and river diagram. All precious treasures needed to be refined before they could be used. The mountain and river diagram was undoubtedly a treasure among treasures. It was extremely difficult to refine. In the next half a month, Lu Ming was refining the mountain and river diagram. Moreover, Lu Ming had to drip fresh blood every day and use his blood as a medium to carry out the refinement. Half a month later, the mountain and river diagram was suspended above Lu Ming's head, emitting a mysterious glow. Slowly the glow grew brighter and brighter. In the end, the mountain and river diagram shrank rapidly and flew into the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. The mountain and river diagram was finally completely refined and it flew into Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. With a thought, the mountain and river diagram reappeared in his hand. I'll try. Lu Ming could not wait any longer. With another thought, Lu Ming's figure suddenly disappeared. In the secret chamber, only the mountain and river diagram was left floating. Lu Ming's body appeared on a mountain peak. Standing on the mountain peak and looking into the distance, what came into view were vast mountains and ancient trees forming forests. The fragrance of flowers assailed the nose and waves of fragrance came from them. Is this the world inside the mountain and river diagram? It's no different from the real world, and the spiritual qi is also very dense. Lu Ming realized that the spirit qi here was very rich. The mountain and river diagram seemed to be absorbing the spirit qi from the outside world into the mountain and river diagram at all times. Let's see how big the boundary of the mountain and river diagram is, he said. Lu Ming rose into the air, turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the sky. Not long after, Lu Ming flew to the end. There was chaos in front of him. He had obviously reached the edge of the mountain and river diagram. Then Lu Ming turned around and flew to the edge of the mountain and river diagram. After that, he made a big circle in the mountain and river diagram. East to west, north to south, it's about 100,000 li. Lu Ming muttered with a hint of excitement in his eyes. This size was naturally incomparable to the vast divine wilderness continent. It was like a grain of sand, but Lu Ming was already extremely happy. Because this world was something he carried with him. Furthermore, it was not small either, slightly larger than the Burning Sun Empire. There was also spiritual energy here, and one could also sense the essence realm of heaven and earth and the law of inscription. Such a treasure was simply a creation of heaven and earth. In the past, the Supreme Divine Hall of the Nine Suns Supreme also contained a space that people could enter. However, it was only so big and the area was very limited. There was no spiritual qi of heaven and earth, nor could one feel the essence realm of heaven and earth or the law of inscription. Compared to the mountain and river diagram, it was many times worse. Treasure, this was a peerless treasure. There were indeed great fortunes and opportunities in the battle of destiny. No wonder so many geniuses were willing to risk their lives to participate in the battle of karmic luck. However, other than plants, there are no other living creatures. There are no demonic beasts, ordinary wild beasts, or any spiritual herbs. I'll have to replenish them slowly. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Let's pick some spirit herbs first. Lu Ming smiled. He waved his hand and a large number of spiritual herbs appeared. There were low-level ones and high-level ones. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he planted the spiritual herbs on the nearby mountain peaks. 3 days later, Lu Ming had planted thousands of spiritual herbs on the peaks and mountains. Of course, for a distance of 100,000 miles, 1,000 spiritual herbs was like a drop in the ocean. Forget it, I'll take my time in the future. I've already spent enough time here. I'll go somewhere else. I wonder how the other talisman amulet sect disciples are doing? With a single thought, Lu Ming exited the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram glowed and entered the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. Lu Ming immediately walked out. There were no obstacles when he went out and he passed through easily. After a while, Lu Ming came out of the place and arrived outside the palace. He continued to walk through the small alley in the palace complex. After that, they entered a few palaces but they didn't gain anything. The palaces were empty. Half a day later, Lu Ming found a few bottles of pills in what looked like a side hall of an alchemy room. The congealing divine pill was a pill that could nurture one's spirit and congeal the spirit fire. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Previously, he had been forced to break through to a 7th-level alchemist due to the circumstances. His mental energy fire's foundation was somewhat unstable and there were side effects. It would take a long time to recover. However, with the focus pill he could recover in a short time without any side effects. It seemed that this place was specially designed to test inscription masters. Lu Ming speculated. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Suddenly he heard the sound of fighting ahead. There were people fighting. Lu Ming dashed forward in a hurry. In front, 2 talisman amulet sect disciples were running away in a panic. Behind them, a youth with dense demonic qi was chasing after them. It was the little demonic lord. He was chasing after 2 talisman amulet sect disciples. You can't escape. The people of the symbol puppet sect deserve to die. The little demonic lord's killing intent burst forth as he strode forward. A black blade light slashed at a talisman amulet sect disciple. The 2 talisman amulet sect disciples took out their puppets and inscription scrolls to block, but it was useless. They were directly split apart by the little demon lord's blade. Pucci. The blade light slashed down, and a talisman amulet sect disciple was cut in half. Little Demon Lord, Lu Ming Zongzi will not let you off. The other talisman amulet sect disciple shouted. His face was filled with fear as he staggered backward. Chapter 925. 925 The Great Battle Against the Little Demon Lord. Buzz. The little demonic lord's figure moved and chased after the talisman sect disciple. He grabbed with his claw and destroyed all the attacks of the talisman sect disciple. He grabbed the talisman sect disciple's throat and lifted him up high. Lu Ming, I'm telling you, don't let me bump into him. Otherwise, I'll make sure he dies without a burial ground. The little demonic lord's expression was extremely ferocious. He hated Lu Ming to the core. You better let him go. Otherwise, I guarantee that you'll be the one to die without a burial place. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Lu Ming walked out of a small alley. Lu Ming Zongzi. The talisman sect's disciples revealed looks of joy. Lu Ming. The little demon lord spat out the two words word by word coldly, his voice extremely cold. He was a little surprised. He did not expect to meet Lu Ming just as he mentioned him. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the area and his gaze turned gloomy when he saw the talisman sect disciple who had been killed. Lu Ming, didn't you want to save people? Let's see how you're going to save him. The little demonic lord sneered. He suddenly exerted force in his claws. With a crack, he crushed the talisman sect disciple in his claws to death. Boom. Lu Ming's body exploded with a violent aura. A cold killing intent burst out and enveloped the little demon lord. Luoli, you will die today. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely cold. He looked at the little demon lord as if he was looking at a dead man. Lu Ming, don't think that you can kill me. I didn't even use my full strength the last time. We don't know who will win yet. A powerful aura burst out of the little demon lord's body, and a black demonic chi rushed into the sky. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming strode forward, the 5 dragon energies in his body erupting at the same time. His body was covered in a thick layer of scales. Kill? The word kill came out like a thunderbolt. Lu Ming struck out with his palm and the space trembled. 9 Death's Devil Blade. A pitch-black saber appeared in the little demonic lord's hand, and a sharp saber light burst out. Boom. With a huge boom, the little demon lord's body trembled and he staggered back. How can his strength be so terrifying? The little demon lord's face revealed a trace of shock. In his previous battle with Lu Ming did not burst out with 5 flashes of dragon energy. Die. Lu Ming strode forward and blasted out a violent force. His palm was like an immemorial divine mountain, containing infinite power, and he struck at the little demon lord. I don't believe it. The little demonic lord roared and touched his chest. He let out a low growl. Then the little demonic lord's body began to swell, and bone spikes extended from his arms and shoulders. His aura also increased greatly. Lu Ming, die. The little demonic lord roared and charged at Lu Ming like a demonic creature. With a wave of his hand, the bone spikes pierced through the air, making a sharp whistling sound as they stabbed at Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! The vital essence in his body roared and 4 types of intents swirled around. Lu Ming circulated the prison-suppressing heaven technique in his palm and continuously bombarded the little demon lord. The two of them were like a demon and a demon. They kept bombarding each other in a very direct way. The entire area began to shake violently. The surrounding palaces all heard it. There's a huge battle going on. Let's go and take a look. A burly young man was exploring one of the palaces. When he heard the commotion, he rushed towards the source of the sound. There were also others who heard the commotion, but they didn't dare to rush over. This was because the commotion was too shocking and it exceeded their strength. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had exchanged dozens of moves with the little demon lord. Gradually, the little demon lord was at a disadvantage while Lu Ming had the upper hand. Bang! Lu Ming's palm hit the little demon lord's shoulder, breaking the bone spur on his shoulder and creating a huge wound. The little demon lord let out an angry roar. Roar! At this moment, a loud roar was heard. A burly young man appeared. His eyes were filled with ferocity and he bared his fangs. Brother Jean, let's kill Lu Ming together. The little demon lord was overjoyed to see this young man. Good, just what I want. The burly young man revealed a ferocious smile. In the next moment he transformed into a huge tiger and pounced at Lu Ming. It was the powerful heaven's favorite from the Sky Demon Valley. He had 50% of the bloodline of the divine beast and his combat strength was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming, die. The little demonic lord's eyes revealed a malevolent look. A hideous-looking creature appeared above his head. It was a demonic creature with thick demonic chi, a wide mouth with sharp fangs and a body full of bone spikes. There were 5 golden chakras shining around the demonic creature. This was the bloodline of the little demonic lord, a 5th-level divine bloodline. The little demonic lord turned into a ray of light and fused into his blood vessels. He had completely transformed into a demonic creature. Demonic chi surged as he charged at Lu Ming. You're the ones who will die. 9 dragons. Lu Ming shouted. His 9-dragon bloodline appeared and he transformed into 9 dragons, exuding a vast dragon's might. What is this? The fierce golden tiger was shocked and felt a little scared. The true dragon was the head of all beasts, and there were not many that could be compared to it. Other divine beasts would instinctively feel reverence when facing a true dragon, let alone 9 dragons. The ferocious golden tiger was shocked. The 9 dragons' claws struck down and sent the ferocious golden tiger flying. Following that, it struck out with its claw again, clashing with the little demon lord's move, causing him to stagger back. Roar! At that moment, the golden tiger roused its spirits and roared loudly, pouncing towards Lu Ming. The bloodline of the 9 dragons. This is the legendary 9 dragons. You've actually awakened the bloodline of the 9 dragons. Hand it over. The golden tiger roared, its eyes filled with greed. The 9 dragons were existences that were of a higher level than the true dragon. If he could take away Lu Ming's 9-dragon bloodline, even if he could not use it himself, he could offer it to the supreme being of the Flood Dragon tribe. He would definitely be rewarded handsomely. At the same time, the little demonic lord also rushed toward Lu Ming. 9 dragons trampling the heavens. The 9 dragon claws stepped in the air as if they were real dragons, surveying the world and ruling it. A terrifying dragon's might gushed out, and under the 9 claws, a vast power erupted. Lu Ming had cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps to the 6th step, which was equivalent to the highest level of a high-grade demigod martial technique. However, after transforming into the 9 dragons and performing it, the power was even more terrifying. Boom! Boom! With 2 deafening sounds, the little demonic lord and the golden tiger were sent flying by Lu Ming. A surge of energy gushed out in all directions. However, the palace seemed to be made of some kind of unique material that made it indestructible, and it was unknown whether it was inscribed with a formation or made of some kind of special material. The powerful energy that seemed to be able to pierce through the earth did not leave a single mark on the palace at all. How can he be so strong? The little demon lord cried out in disbelief. He and the golden tiger were both at the 4th-level spirit embryo realm, 2 levels higher than Lu Ming. The 2 of them had joined forces, but they were still at a disadvantage. How was this possible? Kill? The 9 dragons twisted their bodies and pounced at the little demon lord. Boom! With a swipe of his claw, the little demon lord spat out a large mouthful of blood, and more than a dozen of the hideous bone spikes on his body were broken. Join hands, join hands. The little demonic lord roared and was a little flustered. He was not Lu Ming's match at all. On the other side, the golden tiger was a little frightened, but it still roared angrily and pounced at Lu Ming. At this moment, a scroll flew out of the 9 dragons' forehead. It was the mountain and river diagram. Chapter 926. 926 Killing the Little Demon Lord. The mountain and river diagram glowed and expanded rapidly, becoming longer and wrapping around the golden tiger. The golden tiger roared and struggled with all its might. However, the mountain and river diagram was shining, and it could not break free at all. It's indeed useful. Lu Ming was overjoyed. This was a usage he thought of at the last minute. The mountain and river diagram was a treasure that contained a world within it. Naturally, it was strong and immortal. If the golden tiger was trapped, it should not be able to break free. As expected, the effect was very good. The golden tiger was trapped. Ro-Li, let's see who else can help you now. The 9 dragons' eyes glowed with a ferocious light as they pounced at the little demon lord, using the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Bang! Bang! The little demonic lord was no match for him and kept retreating. The bone spikes on his body were broken and blood and flesh flew everywhere. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Go, go. The little demon lord was scared and wanted to escape, but the 9 dragons had completely blocked his way out. How could he escape? Pucci. Then, the little demonic lord screamed as one of his arms was torn off by the 9 dragons. The huge demonic creature's body shrank rapidly and turned back into the little demonic lord. At this moment, his face was deathly pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. Die. The huge dragon claw grabbed at the little demon lord. No, no, Lu Ming, you can't kill me. My brother is demonic Lord Luo Tian, 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. If you kill me, my brother will not let you off. The little demonic lord shouted as he resisted with all his might. What a joke. Weren't you very arrogant before? Now that you've lost, you're bringing up your big brother. What a waste. Lu Ming berated coldly, his dragon claws not stopping. Bang. The little demonic lord screamed as a huge wound appeared on his body. Blood flowed out and his aura became even weaker. On the other side, the golden tiger let out a long roar. Its entire body emitted a brilliant golden light, but it was useless. It couldn't break through the mountain and river diagram. Chi-chi. The dragon claw continued to claw down and hit the little demon lord's chest. The little demon lord was sent flying and crashed into the wall of a palace. The palace did not move, but the little demon lord's bones cracked and he fell to the ground, unable to move like a dead fish. Lu Ming transformed into his human form and stepped forward, stepping on the little demon lord's face. A long spear appeared in his hand, and he pointed it at the little demon lord's heart. No, no, don't kill me. The little demonic lord was incomparably terrified. His entire body was cold as he felt the approaching death god. He had never been so afraid before. He had been a proud son of heaven since he was young. His brother, Luo Tian, was even more talented and almost invincible. They had been taken in as Di Tian's imperial guards since they were young and were carefully nurtured. He had never been so close to death before and had never been so afraid. It had always been him killing others. When had others been able to kill him? On the list of top 1,000 talents, those who were ranked higher than him had to give him face because his brother was Luo Tian. However, Lu Ming's killing intent was extremely cold. He was not afraid of his big brother at all and wanted to kill him. If I don't kill you, why didn't you consider letting my talisman amulet sect's disciples off when you killed them? Lu Ming sneered and looked down at the little demon lord. The little demonic lord was speechless. In his heart, those talisman sect disciples were all trash. How could they compare to him? But how could he say such thoughts out loud? Lu Ming, my brother Luo Tian is unrivaled and ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. His combat strength is far beyond your imagination. No matter how talented you are, you're no match for my brother. You better let me go. Otherwise no one can save you. The little demon lord continued to mention his elder brother, hoping to deter Lu Ming. Bang. Lu Ming stomped his foot hard and the little demon lord's face hit the ground hard. A few of his teeth fell out and blood flowed out of his mouth. What a joke. No matter how strong Luo Tian is, he's only ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. There are 9 humans above him, not including the demons. He's invincible? Also, can your big brother compare to Di? Now even Di wants to catch me but I'm still fine. What do you mean by no one can save me? If your big brother comes, I'll kill him. Lu Ming sneered, his killing intent growing stronger. Lu Ming, stop. Suddenly, a figure appeared in a small alley. It was Brother Lydian. Ah, Brother Lydian, save me, save me. Seeing Brother Lydian, the little demonic monarch shouted with all his might. It doesn't matter who you call, just die. As soon as he finished speaking, the long spear in Lu Ming's hand suddenly stabbed out, piercing the little demon lord's heart. The little demonic lord let out a hysterical scream, his eyes popping out, filled with unwillingness and hatred. Bang. With a shake of the long spear, vital essence exploded, crushing the little demon lord's heart into pieces. The little demon lord died. At the entrance of the alley, Brother Li Tian's face turned ugly. He turned around and disappeared into the alley in a flash. Brother Lydian knew very well that his combat strength was only slightly higher than the young demon lord. He was probably not Lu Ming's match in a fight. He might as well leave. Lu Ming glanced in the direction that Brother Li Tian had left. He did not pursue him. Instead, he waved his hand and put away the little demonic lord's storage ring. Then he walked towards the golden tiger. "Ah, don't kill me." The fierce golden tiger cried out in fear and struggled with all its might. Seeing the little demon lord being killed in front of him, he almost peed his pants. Boom. Lu Ming clenched his fist and punched the golden tiger's head. Bang. The golden tiger was unable to resist and was hit by a heavy punch. It suddenly felt dizzy and felt as if its head was about to be crushed. It saw stars. Whoa, this tiger's head is too hard. It's actually not killed after one punch. Lu Ming was also a little shocked. He was well aware of how terrifying his punch was. However, he was surprised that it did not smash the tiger's head. "No, don't kill me. I admit defeat. I surrender. I'll recognize you as my big brother. Please let me go." The ferocious golden tiger shook its head and actually loudly begged for mercy. It cried out in an extremely miserable manner. "Lu Ming, I'm begging you. I have an 80-year-old mother and a 3-year-old child. I beg you, please spare me. From now on, you're my big brother. I'll be grateful for your kindness." The golden tiger continued to roar. Lu Ming was a little stunned. This golden tiger was also a weirdo. "Nonsense, I see that you have abundant yang qi. You clearly haven't lost your virginity. Where did you come from, a 3-year-old child?" Lu Ming rolled his eyes and then chided. That's a child I picked up from the barren mountains. Every word is true." The golden tiger's eyes darted around as it continued to spout nonsense. "All right, don't talk nonsense in front of me. You can surrender if you want, but relax your mind. I'm going to carve a formation in your mind. Otherwise, I won't be at ease. I'll have to kill you. You have 50% of the divine beast bloodline. The tiger whip is also a great supplement." As he said that, Lu Ming cast a few glances behind the golden tiger. The golden tiger felt a chill run down its spine and it couldn't help but clench its legs. "Inscribe the formation." The golden tiger was a little hesitant. It was very clear that if the array was really engraved on it, it would really become Lu Ming's slave. However, if he did not agree, Lu Ming would not let him off. Chapter 927. 927 Chapter 927, Emperor's Legacy. He possessed half of the divine beast's bloodline and had a bright future. He did not want to die just like that. He felt a chill all over his body, especially when he thought of being killed by Lu Ming and possibly becoming a dish to go with his wine. As for backbone, he had lived for so long that he didn't know what backbone was. His top priority was to save his life. Therefore, he only thought about it for a moment and nodded repeatedly. "Okay, I agree. You carve the formation, and you'll be my big brother from now on." After saying that, his eyes revealed a pitiful look. However, he was big and burly with a wide mouth and sharp fangs, and a fierce aura filled the air. How did he look pitiful at all? Relax your mind and don't resist at all. With that, Lu Ming began to inscribe the array. The soul-splitting array. Lu Ming had once used this array to control Wang Haoxian. Soon, the formation was formed and entered the golden tiger's head. The soul-splitting formation. With just a thought from me, your soul will be torn apart. At the very least, you'll become an idiot. At the very worst, you'll die on the spot. Do you want to try the effects? Lu Ming kept the mountain and river diagram and looked at the golden tiger. The fierce golden tiger's eyes rolled and said, "No need, no need. You're an expert from the Talisman sect and are proficient in the Tao of inscription. I naturally believe you. Big brother, you're my big brother from now on." The golden tiger transformed into a human form. It was a burly young man with strong muscles all over his body. His arms were thicker than Lu Ming's thighs. "Get lost, who's your big brother?" Lu Ming berated. Okay, not big brother but boss. You are my boss." The golden tiger immediately nodded and bowed. Lu Ming's expression looked better. He said, "What's your name?" "I'm called King Kong, what do you think? Isn't this name powerful?" King Kong's muscles twitched as he spoke. "It's powerful. It's indeed powerful. You'd better transform into your beast form and be my mount for the time being," Lu Ming instructed. To be your mount?" Vajra's eyes widened, revealing a fierce look. Who was he? He was a heaven's favorite of the demon clan who had 50% of the divine beast bloodline. He was high and mighty and worshipped by thousands of demons. Now Lu Ming actually called him a mount. He was furious. "What's wrong? You want to test the power of the god-splitting formation?" Lu Ming looked at King Kong with an unfriendly gaze. King Kong immediately gave in and lost his momentum. He grinned and said, "No, why would I? It's this little brother's good fortune to be able to become your mount, boss." As he spoke, he transformed into a ferocious golden tiger. It was 3 meters tall and 6 meters long. Its body was covered in shiny golden hair, smooth and silky. Needless to say, this fellow's appearance was not bad. Although King Kong appeared to be honest, he was cursing in his heart. I'll bear with it for now. When the Battle of Providence is over, I'll go out and think of a way to break that formation. I'll definitely cut this kid into 8 pieces to vent my heartache and hatred." Thinking of this, King Kong's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. This guy looks honest on the surface. If I don't teach him a lesson, he might stab me in the back. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He suddenly had an idea and exploded the power of soul splitting. Vajra let out a blood-curdling screech and started rolling on the ground. What's going on? What was going on? Why do I suddenly feel like I'm going to split apart? It hurts. King Kong kept roaring and rolling on the ground. After a while, Lu Ming finally stopped controlling the god-splitting formation. King Kong lay on the ground powerlessly with his tongue out and a look of exhaustion on his face. I'm sorry. I accidentally triggered the soul-splitting array that I engraved in your mind. Are you all right? Lu Ming pretended to be surprised. Oh, big, was that you just now? King Kong looked at Lu Ming with great hidden bitterness. I'm sorry, I was not careful just now. Speaking of which, was it because you were scolding me in your heart just now that I activated the soul-splitting array? Lu Ming looked at King Kong with a faint smile. King Kong wailed in his heart. He finally knew the power of the soul-splitting formation. This time he was really honest and shouted, boss, I'm innocent. From now on, I'll be loyal to you." "Yes, that's more like it." Lu Ming patted the King Kong's huge head. The King Kong's combat strength was not bad. It would be of help to him if he kept it. "Let's go and take a look at other places." He waved his hand and Lu Ming took the lead. Buzz. They hadn't even taken a few steps when an invisible ripple suddenly came from the depths of the palace. At the same time, the entire group of palaces began to tremble. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Then the fluctuations became more and more intense, and the nearby palaces also trembled more and more violently. "He's inside, let's go over." Lu Ming and King Kong went deep into the palace at top speed. All of a sudden, Lu Ming saw a palace in the distance emitting endless golden light. The vast mental energy formed a mental storm that swept in all directions. An endless majestic aura filled the air. The next moment, a figure appeared from one of the palaces and sat cross-legged above it. The endless golden light was being emitted from this figure. Qi Shui. Lu Ming was shocked to see the figure. It was Bai Qi Shui. That golden light is so terrifying. It's a golden spirit fire, the spirit fire of an imperial Dao expert. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. He had received Lien Cang's inheritance, so he could tell at a glance that the spirit fire on Bai Qi Shui's body was the spirit fire of a 9th-level alchemist, a sovereign warrior. Bai Qi Shui had received the inheritance of a level 9 alchemist. While Lu Ming was shocked, he was also happy for Bai Qi Shui. He did not expect Bai Qi Shui to have such a lucky chance to get the inheritance of a level 9 inheritor. Buzz. Golden light filled the air and the palace trembled. Inscriptions appeared on the countless palaces, but then they all collapsed and disappeared. It seemed that Bai Qi Shui's inheritance had affected those formations. The disciples of the Talisman sect can forget about obtaining the inheritance. With an angry roar, a blood-red sword light slashed towards Bai Qi Shui. Lu Ming turned pale with fright and leaped into the air. Previously, the palace was filled with inscription formations and it was difficult to soar into the air. Now that the formations had collapsed, it was no longer a problem. Although Lu Ming was fast, it was too late. However, when the blood-red sword light was about to hit Bai Qi Shui, another sword light shot out from her body and blocked it. "7th blood sword, you're looking for death." Lu Ming flew into a rage. He stepped in the air and approached Bai Qi Shui in an instant. His palm was like a heavenly blade, and he slashed at a young man in a blood-red robe. It was the 7th blood sword, the sovereign of the Heavenly Corpse sect, who had just attacked Lu Ming. The 7th sanguine sword's eyes narrowed at the sight of Lu Ming. He brandished his sanguine sword, and the smell of blood assailed his nostrils. A sanguine sword light slashed at Lu Ming. Bang. The blood-red light collapsed. Lu Ming's body trembled as he felt his arm go numb. The seventh blood sword's combat strength was even above the little demon lord's. Buzz. Buzz. At this moment, figures flashed through the surrounding palace. There were Talisman Amulet sect disciples and people from the other three factions. Talisman Amulet sect disciples, gather together. Lu Ming shouted. Chapter 928. 928 Three-Eyed God Race's Arrival. Take down those Talisman sect disciples. A blood-robed youth called out. It was Bloodsword 9. Vajra, go and help. Lu Ming shouted. All right, Bloodsword 9, your opponent is me. King Kong roared and pounced at Bloodsword 9. They immediately fought. King Kong, are you crazy? Our opponent is Lu Ming. Bloodsword 9 roared. You dare to fight with my boss? I'll cripple you. King Kong roared and clawed out continuously, covering Bloodsword 9. No matter how Bloodsword 9's sword light flickered, he couldn't break through. Bloodsword 7, Bloodsword 9 and the others were all shocked. The demon race's proud son of heaven, Vajra, actually called Lu Ming boss, and sided with him. What was going on? Die. Lu Ming transformed into the 9 dragons and clawed at Bloodsword 7. The 7th sanguine sword's body flashed with a blood-red light. The blood-red golden light was extremely sharp as it slashed toward Lu Ming. The two of them fought and the rumbles continued. Figures flickered around him. Lu Ming saw Brother Lydian and another demon race prodigy, the man in green. King Kong, what's the meaning of this? The green-robed young man of the demon clan rushed toward King Kong. What do you mean? Get lost. The Vajra roared. Buzz. At this moment, the mountain and river diagram flew out of Lu Ming's glabella and wrapped around the 7th blood sword. The 7th sanguine sword was shocked. He instinctively felt that the painting was very dangerous. He retreated quickly and slashed out sword light to split the mountain and river painting. The 9 dragons twisted their bodies, and the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps burst out toward the 7th blood sword, forcing him to retreat. Kill? Lu Ming surrounded himself with the mountain and river diagram to protect his vital points. Then he launched a violent attack on the 7th sanguine sword, ignoring his defense. The 7th blood sword fought back, but the mountain and river diagram didn't move at all when the sword light hit it. Bang. Blood sword 7 was shocked and was hit by the 9 dragons' claws. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and quickly retreated. He did not dare to stay any longer. His figure flashed and he rushed to where Bloodsword 9 was and met up with him. Lu Ming stepped into the void and came to King Kong's side. The two sides were in a confrontation. Li Tian's brother stood in the distance and did not make a move. He had seen with his own eyes that Lu Ming had killed the little demon lord and restrained the Vajra. In his eyes, Lu Ming was simply unfathomable. King Kong, how dare you betray the demon race and help Lu Ming? Do you want to die? The green-robed demon youth shouted coldly. What are you shouting for? I'm all alone in the demon race. What's there to be afraid of? I'm going to join Lu Ming's side now. What's wrong with that? King Kong opened his mouth and looked at the young man in green with disdain. You. The green-robed youth's face turned ashen. You're looking for death. Lu Ming suddenly roared. Not far away, a paragon of the Heavenly Corpse sect was about to kill a Talisman sect disciple who was flying over. A long spear appeared and instantly crossed the void, killing the paragon of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Whoever dares to kill the disciples of my Talisman Amulet sect will die. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he swept his gaze across the audience. Lu Ming, you're courting death. Bloodsword 9 shouted. Oh really? Let's see who will die. Lu Ming strode toward Bloodsword 9. Sanguine Sword 9 launched an explosive attack, but just like Sanguine Sword 7, Lu Ming did not care about defense at all. He launched a fierce attack, causing Sanguine Sword 9 to vomit blood. He could only turn around and escape. Blood Sword 7 and Blood Sword 9's expressions were ugly. They did not dare to fight Lu Ming. The green-robed young man from the demon clan was extremely fearful and kept his distance from Lu Ming. If any of you want to die, I don't mind sending you on your way. Lu Ming's cold gaze swept across the entire scene. The supreme talents of the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace, Heavenly Corpse Sect, and Heavenly Demon Valley stayed far away. They were extremely afraid. No one dared to stop the talisman sect's disciples. Very soon, the talisman amulet sect's disciples gathered around Lu Ming. There were 5 to 6 people less than before. It was obvious that these 5 to 6 people had already fallen. This made Lu Ming's eyes turn gloomy. He pondered how to keep all the geniuses from the 3 parties. Buzz. At this moment, Bai Qishua's inheritance seemed to have reached a critical moment. The energy fluctuations from her body were getting stronger and stronger, and the golden light spread far and wide. From a distance, they could see that the surroundings of the palace were originally filled with great arrays. At this time, those great arrays were glowing and collapsing one by one. This place had become an ordinary land, and the formation had disappeared. All around, everyone was watching from afar. The people from the Empyrean Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley were very unwilling and wanted to cause trouble. However, with Lu Ming eyeing them like a tiger watching its prey in the Vajra, they did not dare to make a move. After a while, the energy fluctuation on Bai Qishua's body decreased and the golden light faded away. When the golden light was gone, Bai Qishua opened her eyes. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Bai Qishua. Bai Qishua seemed to know nothing. She was a little confused. She looked around and then stood up as if she had remembered something. "Qishua, how is it?" Lu Ming moved and came to Bai Qishua's side. "Fortunately, I seem to have obtained the inheritance of a senior." Bai Qishua blinked her eyes and looked a little confused. Lu Ming was speechless. Bai Qishua had obtained the inheritance of a 9th-level alchemist. Did she not know about it? "There seems to be a lot of new things in my head that I need to digest," Bai Qishua said. Lu Ming nodded. It was true. It was just like when he first received the legacy from Liansong. It was impossible to increase his combat strength so quickly. He needed time to understand it. It would be very helpful for his future cultivation. The other disciples of the Talisman sect all looked at Bai Qishua with envy. With the inheritance of a 9th-level alchemist, Bai Qishua was destined to rise in the future. As for the other 3 forces, their eyes were filled with killing intent. It was not a good thing for the other 3 forces that Bai Qishua had received the inheritance of the emperor. In the future, when she rose to power, she was destined to be on the opposite side of the 3 forces. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a violent explosion came from the distance. The voice came from outside the palace. The earth rumbled as if 10,000 horses were galloping. Even the void was shaking violently. Then, powerful auras shot up into the sky like smoke. What's going on? Everyone present was shocked. Buzz, buzz. The sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was the people from the 3 forces of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace who had stayed outside the formation. Now that the formation had collapsed, there was naturally no one who could stop them. Three-eyed God race. It's the three-eyed God race. After those people flew over, their faces were filled with panic. Everyone else's faces changed as well. They then saw that on the ground and in the air, there were many tall and burly three-eyed gods riding on a huge demonic beast. These demonic beasts were similar to the three-eyed god race. Their bodies were covered in scales and they had 2 long horns like water buffaloes. And NBSP, the three-eyed god race had completely surrounded them. These three-eyed gods have been eyeing this ruin for a long time. They probably want to surround us and kill us. Once the formation collapses, they'll charge out. Lu Ming's eyes were solemn. He could sense many powerful auras among the three-eyed god race. Chapter 929. 929 Chapter 929 Chaotic Slaughter. Some of the auras were extremely thick and gave off a powerful pressure. Not only were there 7th-level spirit embryo realm cultivators, but there were even stronger ones. Boom, boom, boom. The three-eyed god's mount trembled as it stomped through the air, carrying with it a heaven-shaking killing intent. "Human brat, how dare you use my race as your hunting target? Today I'll bury you here." And NBSP, kill. A thunderous voice boomed from the three-eyed god race, causing one's eardrums to buzz. What do we do? Some people were terrified. There were simply too many three-eyed gods, and their experts were as numerous as the clouds. It was impossible for them to charge out. Could it be that they were going to die here today? Brother Lydian, Bloodsword 7, Bloodsword 9, and the geniuses of the monster race all had ugly expressions. No way. Don't tell me I'm going to die here today? Vajra looked into the distance with fear in his eyes. Don't resist. Lu Ming looked at Bai Qixue and the rest. Ah. The talisman sect disciples looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming waved his hand and the mountain and river diagram flew towards the talisman amulet sect disciples. Remember, don't resist. With that, the mountain and river diagram glowed and rolled up the talisman amulet sect's disciples, taking them into the mountain and river diagram. Is this a spatial treasure? King Kong's eyes almost popped out. The others looked at Lu Ming one after another, their eyes filled with greed. Kill. Don't leave a single one. One of the most muscular three-eyed gods waved his hand, and a group of three-eyed gods charged toward Lu Ming's group on their water buffalo-like mounts. There were about 200 people, but each one of them exuded a terrifying aura. The pressure on their bodies was like a tide, surging towards them. Every single one of them was an expert above the spirit embryo realm. What do we do? What do we do? A Heaven's Pride expert of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace shouted in fear. There was no way to retreat because there were three-eyed god race experts everywhere. They were already surrounded and there were experts no matter where they retreated. Kill? In an instant there were already experts who rushed over. Kill? Brother Lydian and the others shouted. They had no choice but to fight. Human brat, die. A burly three-eyed god with a battle axe in his hand and a mount charged toward Lu Ming, swinging his axe down at his head. This was a three-eyed god at the 5th level of the spirit embryo realm. Bang. Lu Ming took a step forward and his fist was as heavy as a mountain, crushing down on the three-eyed god. The three-eyed god's body was punched through by Lu Ming and he died on the spot. And NBSP, the devouring power erupted, completely devouring the three-eyed god's blood essence. You're looking for death. When the other three-eyed god saw this, he pulled on his mount and charged toward Lu Ming. There were a total of 3 people and they were all at the 6th level spirit embryo realm. A long spear, and an iron hammer, 3 types of weapons were thrown at Lu Ming. Boss, let me help you. The Vajra let out a long howl and charged towards a three-eyed god with a spear in his hand. His claw light slashed out and shattered the attack of the other party. The three-eyed god's face changed drastically as a beam of light shot out from his third eye. His mount also roared and charged at King Kong with its sharp horns. These three-eyed gods were not on the same level as the ones that Lu Ming had encountered before. These three-eyed gods were even stronger, and they were clearly the elites of the three-eyed god race. And NBSP, at the same time, the other 2 three-eyed gods also began to charge at the Vajra. Lu Ming took a step forward, and the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps burst forth, blasting toward the 2 three-eyed god race beings. The 2 three-eyed gods, including their mounts, trembled and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Die. Lu Ming burst out with 5 rays of dragon energy and his strength increased greatly. In a flash, he charged at his opponent. Bang. Bang. 2 consecutive palm strikes landed on 2 three-eyed gods, splitting them into pieces. Even their mounts were killed by Lu Ming. On the other side, the spear-wielding three-eyed god had also been killed by the Vajra. The commotion they were making had attracted the attention of the other three-eyed gods. A few burly three-eyed gods glared at Lu Ming and King Kong coldly. You're looking for death. Charge, he said coldly. The three-eyed gods commanded their mounts to charge at Lu Ming and the others. Then let's kill to our heart's content. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he transformed into the 9 dragons and charged toward the group of three-eyed gods with Vajra. Roar. Devour. The 9 dragons roared, and a terrifying devouring power erupted. Some of the three-eyed god race beings at the 1st and 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm were unable to control their bodies. They felt their blood essence and power being devoured by the 9 dragons. They screamed in horror as they watched their life force slip away. Even those three-eyed gods above the 3rd level of spirit embryo realm were terrified. Enveloped by the devouring power, their breathing became unstable, and their blood essence seemed to be about to burst out of their bodies. Boom. 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 Following that, they were greeted by Lu Ming's 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps. The terrifying power struck them, and all those below the 5th level spirit embryo realm exploded, their blood essence and energy devoured by the 9 dragons. As for those at the 5th level of spirit embryo realm and above, they also vomited blood and retreated rapidly. Lu Ming's 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps combined with the devouring power was simply a large-scale killing weapon. Kill him. Let's work together and kill him. A few of the 6th and 7th level spirit embryo realm three-eyed gods bellowed in rage and charged at Lu Ming. Vajra. You enter the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram danced and wrapped around the Vajra. Vajra's expression changed. He relaxed his body and mind. Suddenly, a force pulled Vajra and put him into the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram immediately surrounded the bodies of the 9 dragons. Lu Ming completely ignored his defense and charged towards the three-eyed god. The 9 dragon claws kept striking out. 2 three-eyed gods of the 6th level spirit embryo realm were killed in a row. Bang! Bang! All around, the attacks of the three-eyed god race landed on the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram trembled slightly, but it was blocked. Kill? Die. Lu Ming shouted and charged at a 7th-tier spirit embryo realm three-eyed god. With a claw, he pierced through the heart of the three-eyed god. The devouring power continued to erupt, devouring the three-eyed god. Boom. A black iron hammer heavily hit the mountain and river diagram, causing it to fluctuate. The other three-eyed god at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm held a metal hammer and looked at Lu Ming in shock. Earth Essence Realm die. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with greed. This three-eyed god at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm cultivated the earth concept. Lu Ming had to kill him. Lu Ming pounced on the other party. The other party was frightened and retreated quickly. Die. Human, go to hell. A long spear and a saber struck the mountain and river diagram heavily, causing it to fluctuate violently. Waves of energy passed through the mountain and river diagram and hit Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled slightly and he offset this force. It seems that the defense of the mountain and river diagram changes according to my cultivation. My current cultivation is still low, so the defensive ability of the mountain and river diagram is not very high. If the opponent is much stronger than me, I will not be able to resist it. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Chapter 930. 930 Chapter 930 Refuge. The 2 three-eyed gods were only at the 8th level of the spirit embryo realm, but they were able to send their power through the mountain and river diagram to hit Lu Ming. Of course, it had been greatly weakened by the mountain and river diagram and could not cause any harm to Lu Ming. However, if it was someone stronger, such as the 9th level of the spirit embryo realm, it might cause harm to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled slightly. He ignored the attacks of the 2 8th-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed gods and focused on the 7th-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god. The 9 dragon claws were all using the prison-suppressing heavenly art as they charged at each other. Bang. The other party used his huge iron hammer to block, but it was useless. The huge iron hammer was sent flying by Lu Ming. The dragon claw grabbed the other party's body. The other party roared and flew 100 meters away. He spat out a large mouthful of blood, but he did not die. The Earth Essence Realm's defensive power is indeed powerful. However, he still has to die. The dragon's claw stepped in the air, and with a twist of its body, it appeared in front of the opponent in an instant, clawing out again. Puchi. The claw pierced through his opponent and killed him. Lu Ming devoured all his blood essence and energy. While Lu Ming was killing, screams could be heard from other directions. The paragons of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse Sect, and the Sky Demon Valley were all killed on the spot. Some of them were peerless geniuses in the outside world. There were even god-level geniuses, but their lives were like grass and they were killed mercilessly. Lu Ming saw Blood Sword 9's blood-colored sword light crisscrossing and his entire body suffused with blood chi. He had killed a three-eyed god at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm, but his head had been chopped off by an expert at the 8th level of the spirit embryo realm. The 63rd on the list of top 1,000 talents had fallen. Go retreat. Go to those palaces. Brother Lydian and the 7th Sanguine Swordsman roared and rushed out of the encirclement, rushing toward the palace. And NBSP, there were many wondrous things within those palaces that might be able to stop the three-eyed god race. Whoosh. At this moment, a saber cut through the void and slashed at the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram shook violently, and a powerful force poured into the bodies of the 9 dragons. It even cut open the scales of the 9 dragons and left a wound. 9th level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming was shocked. One of them was at least 6 meters tall and was riding a huge mount. He held a saber in his hand and looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. Kill? He roared and his saber cut through the void, slashing at Lu Ming again. Boom. The mountain and river diagram shook violently. A terrifying saber chi passed through the mountain and river diagram and cut the bodies of the 9 dragons, leaving another wound. The 9th level of the spirit embryo realm is too strong. Even the mountain and river diagram can't block it. Retreat first. Lu Ming's mind was racing. In the spirit embryo realm, the gap between each stage was extremely huge. Only a rare person like him who cultivated a god-grade technique, had 2 god-grade bloodlines, and had extremely powerful bloodline martial techniques could cross 5 stages and kill an opponent. However, Lu Ming was helpless against an 8th level spirit embryo realm cultivator, while a 9th level spirit embryo realm cultivator could easily kill him. Let's go. Lu Ming moved and dashed toward the palaces. The palace he had chosen was the one he had obtained the mountain and river diagram from. The strength of the puppets in the palace would change according to their cultivation level. Lu Ming believed that the three-eyed god would not be able to charge in. Stop him. The three-eyed god expert at the 9th level of the spirit embryo realm let out an angry roar. A few three-eyed gods at the 8th tier of the spirit embryo realm kept on attacking Lu Ming, but they were all blocked by the mountain and river diagram. Get lost. Lu Ming charged forward with all his might, breaking through the obstacles and rushing into the palace. He then transformed into his human form and rushed forward. In front of him, 2 puppets appeared. They glanced at Lu Ming with cold eyes and then stepped aside. He seemed to have recognized Lu Ming and did not stop him. Lu Ming was overjoyed and rushed over. Behind them, the other three-eyed gods rushed forward, but the puppets moved. They turned into terrifying attacks and charged towards the three-eyed gods. Lu Ming heard a blood-curdling scream. It seemed like one of the three-eyed gods had been killed. As expected, the puppets here would adjust their strength according to the cultivation level of the people who entered. Lu Ming walked into the secret room below. Just like the last time, puppets appeared, but they gave way to Lu Ming after a quick glance. Lu Ming arrived at the passageway without any obstacles. The puppets on both sides of the passage only glanced at Lu Ming and stood there without moving. Lu Ming's path was smooth, and he arrived at the secret chamber where he had obtained the mountain and river diagram. At this moment, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh. This place should be safe. Let's refine the energy first. He immediately sat down cross-legged and began refining. This time he had devoured quite a lot of energy and was constantly being refined. I've made a breakthrough in the Earth concept. It's now at the peak of the 2nd level. Lu Ming had an idea. At the same time, the energy was constantly being refined and transformed into true essence, which poured into the spirit embryo. In his dantian, his spirit embryo was beating as if it was nurturing a life. As true essence poured in and was continuously condensed, the spirit embryo size was also slowly shrinking. A day later, the aura on Lu Ming's body surged. 3rd level spirit embryo realm. After refining this energy, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. The energy I devoured this time is just enough for me to break through to the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. Inside there are 2 three-eyed gods at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm, 5 to 6 at the 6th level, and dozens of 5th level spirit embryo realm and below. That's just enough for me to break through to the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. The energy I need is so much. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. If he didn't devour a 3rd eye god of the 7th level spirit embryo realm, he wouldn't be able to break through. Of the 4 intents, the earth intent has reached the peak of the 2nd level beginning, while the thunder and wind intents are still at the peak of the 2nd level beginning. However, the wind intent has broken through and reached the lower tier of the 2nd level. Most of the three-eyed gods I just killed cultivated the wind intent. However, the bloodline of the 9 dragons hasn't been upgraded. The amount of blood essence required is even more terrifying. Let's go into the mountain and river diagram first to take a look at Qi Shui and the others. After that, I'll stabilize my foundation here, condense my true energy and will, and then break out of here. His cultivation had increased by 1 level and he was now at the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. With the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming was confident that he could break out of the encirclement and escape. With a single thought, Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram. As soon as he entered the mountain and river diagram, he saw Bai Qi Shui and the other talisman amulet sect disciples flying around in the vast land. After a long time, some people finally noticed Lu Ming and gathered around him. Zongzi. Lu Ming Zongzi. The talisman sect disciples saluted Lu Ming. They looked at Lu Ming with envy, shock, and gratitude. They were envious of a treasure like the mountain and river diagram. However, Lu Ming had saved them time and time again. They were extremely grateful to him. Lu Ming, this must be a grotto heaven treasure. I didn't expect that there would be such a wondrous treasure in the world. Bai Qixue also flew over and looked at Lu Ming with shock in her eyes. This was simply a world of its own. Who wouldn't be shocked? Boss, you're amazing. You even have such a treasure. King Kong stepped on the void and rushed over. He looked at Lu Ming with admiration. Looking at Vajra's appearance, the talisman sect disciples admired Lu Ming even more. He could even subdue the demon race's prodigy. Chapter 931. 931 3 months. All of you can stay here and cultivate for the time being. We're currently being surrounded by the three-eyed god race. I'll hide in a palace and charge out after a while. Lu Ming said. Zongzi, you have to be careful. A talisman sect disciple asked worriedly. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled and then looked at Bai Qixue. Qixue, let's go to the side. Then he walked to the side, followed by Bai Qixue. The others were tactful and did not disturb him, each finding a place to cultivate. Qixue, you must have obtained the inheritance of the emperor, right? Lu Ming asked. Yes, that's right. It's a pity that there are still many things that I can't see. My current cultivation is still too low. Bai Qixue said. Lu Ming nodded. This was normal. For example, when he obtained the legacy of Lian Tsang had set a seal for him. On the path of cultivation, one could not aim too high. One had to take it one step at a time and walk up step by step to reach the peak. If one saw too many things at once, one would be confused and lose one's direction. Qixue, how much luck did you get? Lu Ming was somewhat curious. How many points of luck could one gain from an emperor's legacy? 50,000. Bai Qixue blinked her eyes and said. Although she was trying her best to hold it in, she could still see the excitement in her eyes. 50,000. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. He did not think that Bai Qixue had gained too much but too little. When he had obtained the mountain and river diagram, he had obtained 100,000 fate points. In that case, the value of the mountain and river diagram was even more valuable than the inheritance of an emperor. Lu Ming, how many points of luck have you obtained? Bai Qixue looked at Lu Ming curiously. She was eager to try and surpass him. A few 100,000. Lu Ming said casually. 100,000? Bai Qixue was tongue-tied and finally she felt dejected. Lu Ming secretly laughed. This little girl wanted to compete with him. All right, you've obtained the emperor's inheritance. Cultivate well. I'm going out. With that, Lu Ming's figure disappeared. He returned to the secret chamber and put away the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and cultivated quietly, stabilizing his foundation. Time flew by and half a month passed. At this moment, Lu Ming was ready to go out. Now that his cultivation had advanced to the third level of the spirit embryo realm, he was confident that with the mountain and river diagram protecting him, even a 9th level spirit embryo realm expert wouldn't be able to hurt him. Lu Ming came out of the palace and flew above one of the palaces to look outside. Outside it was completely empty. Not a single three-eyed god could be seen. The three-eyed god race had all left. Lu Ming guessed that there were many people participating in the War of Providence. Seeing that they could not find them, the three-eyed god race left to hunt down the others. I don't know if Brother Lydian and the 7th Sanguine Swordsman were killed or if they managed to escape. Lu Ming pondered for a moment, then he rose into the air and flew into the distance. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, they still didn't encounter any three-eyed gods. At this moment, Lu Ming found a secret place and entered the mountain and river diagram. He told the talisman amulet sect disciples that he was out of danger and asked if they wanted to go out. Everyone naturally wanted to go out. The purpose of participating in the Battle of Providence was to find opportunities. If they were to hide here, they might as well not have participated in the Battle of Providence. Lu Ming moved everyone out of the mountain and river diagram. How about this? During this period of time, let's move together and search for opportunities. After that, we will gather even more symbol puppet sect disciples. What do you think? Lu Ming suggested. Is Lu Ming Zongzi coming with us? That's great. The Talisman sect disciples were overjoyed. They had already witnessed how powerful Lu Ming was. With Lu Ming, their chances of obtaining opportunities would be higher and the chances of encountering danger would be lower. Lu Ming nodded. This was not due to his sudden kindness. He did this for two reasons. First, he had to win the hearts of the people. These young geniuses would definitely be the pillars of the Talisman Amulet sect in the future. If he wanted to control the Talisman Amulet sect in the future, it would be very important to gain the support of these geniuses. If he did them a favor now, they would naturally be loyal to him in the future. Secondly, the more fate energy the Talisman Amulet sect obtained, the more beneficial it would be to the entire sect. Naturally, it would be beneficial to Lu Ming as well. Why would he not do it? Alright, we'll look for opportunities while you guys contact the Talisman sect disciples nearby. Lu Ming said. In this world, the transmission distance of a Jade Voice transmission talisman was greatly suppressed. The transmission distance was less than 1/10 or even 1/100th of the outside world. Even a high-level Jade Voice transmission talisman could only contact people within a radius of 100,000 miles. With everything planned out, everyone began to move. Following that, Lu Ming led the group to search for some strange places to explore while contacting other members of the Talisman sect. As time passed, more and more Talisman Amulet sect disciples gathered. Everyone's respect and gratitude for Lu Ming grew. Lu Ming's ability was recognized by everyone. During this period they explored several strange places and obtained quite a few opportunities. They also encountered some dangers such as the pursuit of the three-eyed god race. However, under Lu Ming's lead, they managed to overcome them one by one. Lu Ming naturally won the hearts of the people. As time passed, Lu Ming understood more about this world. During this period of time he captured a few three-eyed gods alive and obtained a lot of information from them. This world was very vast. The three-eyed god race's royal city was located in the center of this world. Within the three-eyed god race's capital, there were many powerful experts. With the royal city as the center, it was divided into 4 major areas. Lu Ming and the rest had been active in the eastern area. There must be even more heaven's favorites in the other 3 directions. Time flew by and in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. It had been half a year since the Battle of Providence had begun. Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged on the peak of a mountain. His body glowed and a dragon's roar could be heard. All of a sudden Lu Ming's aura surged. However, in the next moment his aura was concealed again. Lu Ming opened his eyes. 4th level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming smiled faintly. In the past few months he hadn't killed many three-eyed gods. Most of them were cultivated by himself, and he had made great progress. The 4 intents had all entered the lower tier of the 3rd level. Today his cultivation had also broken through to the 4th level spirit embryo realm, and his foundation was extremely stable. At the spirit embryo realm, it was extremely difficult to make a breakthrough. In the outside world, even geniuses would find it difficult to break through a level without a few years. As for some of the more ordinary spirit embryo experts, it was normal for them to spend decades or even centuries to break through one tier. It was already very fast for Lu Ming to be able to break through one level within 3 months by relying on his own hard work. And NBSP, this was also due to the excellent cultivation environment and the fact that he had devoured a few three-eyed gods. Other people might not have such a speed. Moreover, the higher one went, the slower one's cultivation would be. Not far away, some Talisman Amulet sect disciples were cultivating, while others were patrolling the area. In 3 months they had already gathered more than 60 Talisman Amulet sect disciples. Chapter 932. 932 Rescue, Meeting an Acquaintance. In the distance, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. A figure was rapidly approaching. Soon the figure stopped not far away. It was Ji Mai, the 107th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Zongzi. Seeing that Lu Ming had ended his cultivation, Ji Mai flew over. Ji Mai had also joined Lu Ming's team recently. At this time, Ji Mai looked at Lu Ming with a complicated expression. In fact, when Ji Mai first entered the observatory, his mental energy fire had already broken through to the 7th level. During this period of time, he had made more progress and initially thought that he had finally surpassed Lu Ming. However, during this period of time, he realized that the gap between him and Lu Ming was getting bigger and bigger. Lu Ming's combat strength was simply unfathomable. After learning from the other talisman sect disciples that Lu Ming could even kill the little demonic lord and could even tame the demon race's heavenly child Vajra, who was no weaker than the little demonic lord, he immediately dispelled the thought of competing with Lu Ming and was full of admiration for him. Jimai, did you find anything? Lu Ming smiled, stood up and asked. Zongzi, I've indeed discovered something. Jimai's expression was serious. What is it? Lu Ming asked. There's a possibility that there are chosen from our talisman amulet sect more than 300,000 kilometers away, but they're trapped in one place. Jimai said. Immediately, Jimai began to explain in detail. It turned out that he had been observing the situation within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. He had heard the sound of a battle outside a valley. He looked from afar and found that inscriptions were shining in the valley and flames were soaring into the sky. Someone was fighting. However, the aura was extremely powerful, far stronger than Jimai's. Jimai knew very well that there must be a heaven's favorite who was far stronger than him. If he attacked, he would only die. So he hurried back to report to Lu Ming. His aura far surpassed Jimai's. He was definitely in the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents or even higher. The person from the talisman sect who was trapped was definitely no small matter. If Lu Ming's guess was right, there should be a paragon of the talisman amulet sect in the valley who had set up an array to resist the attacks of others. Jimai, lead the way. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming said. As for the talisman amulet sect disciples, they didn't have to worry about them. They had already set up a dense array in the vicinity. The advantage of the talisman sect's disciples was that as long as they had the time, they could inscribe a powerful array formation, and defense was not a problem at all. Jimai nodded and flew away with Lu Ming. The two of them flew at top speed without stopping. It did not take long for them to arrive at the place Jimai mentioned. Boom. A purple flame shot up into the sky and covered half of the sky. At the same time, runes and arrays glowed, forming a light shield to block the attack of the flame. Purple heavenly fire, it's the Wang family. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He was all too familiar with the extreme purple heavenly fire. Wenjisher, do you think that hiding in there will be of any use? Sooner or later, I'll break through your formation, and you won't be able to escape. A cold voice rang out. It's senior brother Wenqini. Jimai's expression changed. Wen Zongshi was one of the 13 candidates from the talisman sect. He was also very famous among the 13 candidates. He was ranked 52nd on the list of top 1,000 talents, only one rank lower than brother Li Tian. But now Wen Zhongyi was clearly in trouble. Wang Qin, I didn't offend you and you're already trying to kill me? A voice came from the valley. Didn't you hear what my Wang clan's supreme martial artist said before we entered the battle of karmic luck? Kill anyone you see from the talisman amulet sect. You talisman amulet sect are really bold. Lu Ming is wanted by His Majesty Martial Emperor De, and you dare to take him in. You're courting death. Who can you blame? The voice from before rang out. Ah, what a joke. I heard that the supreme martial artist of the Wang family was almost beaten to death by Lu Ming. A dignified supreme martial artist almost died at the hands of a young man. No wonder he flew into a rage out of humiliation and took his anger out on our talisman amulet sect. In the valley, when Zhongtu's voice rang out. You're looking for death. Accompanied by an angry roar, the light of the top-grade purple heavenly fire brightened. The light shield formed by the formation trembled continuously and was on the verge of collapse. Wang Qin ranked 43rd on the list of top 1,000 talents? There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. Wang Qin ranked 43rd on the list of top 1,000 talents. No wonder Wenjisher was trapped here. Let's go. Lu Ming strode toward the valley. In a few breaths they were close to the valley. From afar he could see more than a dozen figures standing in the sky above the valley. There were both men and women, and at the very front, there was a purple-robed young man. His entire body was covered in monstrous flames, and he was constantly launching attacks at the bottom of the valley. This person must be Wang Qin. There were 3 young people in the valley, 2 men and 1 woman. A scholarly-looking man stood in front of Wang Qin, waving his hands continuously. Purple mental energy flames danced and formed an array to resist Wang Qin. Behind this person, there was another man and woman sitting cross-legged, their faces pale. They were obviously injured. Meng Jia. Lu Ming recognized the woman. She was Meng Jia, whom he had met during the competition. As for the young man, Lu Ming remembered him as well. He was Gong Fei, one of the 13 Zongzi candidates of the Talisman sect, ranked 77th on the list of top 1,000 talents. The one who was fighting with Wang Qin was, without a doubt, Wen Jisher. Who is it? As soon as Lu Ming and Ji Mai approached, those people heard the commotion and turned around to look at them. It's him? Lu Ming. When these people saw Lu Ming, they cried out in surprise. At the same time, their eyes were filled with a shocking killing intent. What? Lu Ming ignored the others and landed his gaze on two of them. A man and a woman. The woman was Wang Haoxian. She was still wearing a ring around her neck and her face looked haggard. The aura on her body was weak. After so long, he was still at the 6th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Logically speaking, with Wang Haoxian's talent, he should have been able to reach the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm at the very least, or even higher. It was obvious that she was being controlled, and it was difficult for her to improve her cultivation. When she saw Lu Ming, her eyes lit up. As for the other young man, he was wearing a starry robe. He was actually from the Holy Star. After the battle on the sacred constellation and Mulan's wedding day, the sacred constellation had disappeared. He never thought that he would see it here. Lu Ming, it's you? Kill him. Saint Constellation said in a cold voice. The killing intent in his eyes was extremely strong. His grandfather, Shengguan Zhongyuan, had been smashed to death by Lu Ming's divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron in the Battle of Nine Dragons. He was a spiritual god realm powerhouse, but he had died just like that. With Shengguan Zhongyuan's death, the status of Shengguan Wuqin, Shengguan Wuling, and even the sacred constellation had plummeted in the Shengguan clan. If it were not for the fact that he had awakened the divine bloodline, he would have been in an even worse state. Therefore, when the new and old grudges were added up, one could imagine how much he hated Lu Ming. Lu Ming, Jimai, what are you guys doing here? Hurry up and leave. In the valley, Wen Zhongli also saw Lu Ming and Jimai and immediately shouted. Lu Ming and Jimai were no match for Wang Chen and the others. Furthermore, there were even more terrifying heaven's favorites here. Chapter 933. 933. I'll give you 3 chances. Haha, we've searched high and low for you, but you found it without any effort. Lu Ming, you've delivered yourself to our door. That's great. It saves us the trouble of looking for you. Wang Chen stopped and let out a wild laugh. Stop them, don't let them escape. You're courting death. Sheng Xingchen shouted and dashed toward Lu Ming and Ji Mai with a few other young men. Ji Mai's eyes were filled with solemnness. However, he held back his words when he saw Lu Ming's calm expression. In the next moment, a few young men, including the sacred constellation, surrounded Lu Ming. In front of them, Wang Haoxian looked worried. Lu Ming, at least you know your place. You know that you can't run away, so you didn't. However, even if you stay and beg for mercy, you'll still die today. Sheng Xingchen's eyes flickered with killing intent. At the same time, he looked confident. If he was not afraid of Ji Mai, he would have already attacked. Idiot. Lu Ming cast a nonchalant glance at the sacred constellation. He could see the cultivation of holy constellation with a single glance. Peak of the 1st level spirit embryo realm. The cultivation of the sacred constellation had actually soared to this level. He must have obtained a great opportunity. Otherwise, it was impossible for it to rise to this level. Back then, he had only been ranked at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents on the Holy Star. Now, he had actually made it to this level. No wonder he was so confident. With this cultivation, he could already make it into the top 200. What did you say? Bastard, what did you say? The holy constellation was furious that Lu Ming had called him an idiot in such a contemptuous manner. Now that his cultivation level had improved greatly, he was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. A loser who thinks he can be so arrogant in front of me just because he has some cultivation. If he isn't an idiot, what is he? Lu Ming swept a glance at the sacred constellation and then looked away to the front. Wang Chen held Wang Haoxian's shoulder and walked toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I can't help but be impressed by your abilities. Even the prodigy of the Wang family has fallen to your enigma. You're so close to me despite our grudges. You're really a bitch, a bitch. Today, I'll kill you with my own hands in front of this bitch and make her despair. Wang Chen stared at Wang Haoxian coldly. You better let her go. Otherwise you'll die a terrible death. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Aha, your heart hurts. Then I'll make your heart hurt even more. Pa. As he spoke, Wang Qin slapped Wang Haoxin across the face. A handprint appeared on Wang Haoxin's face and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Wang Haoxin glared at Wang Qin. "Bitch, keep staring and I'll dig out your eyes." Wang Qin shouted coldly. "Wang Haoxin, don't worry. I will make you pay for this slap." Lu Ming's expression calmed down, but his voice was very cold. "Young Master Wang Qin, there's no need for you to kill this bastard. Let me do it. I have a grudge against Lu Ming. I'll kill him with my own hands today." Xing Xingqian said. "There's no need to kill him. Just cripple his cultivation first. I want him to beg for death." Wang Qin said coldly. "Good, just what I want." After saying that, Xing Xingqian strode out. Starlight emanated from his body, and 7 stars appeared above his head. The 3 golden chakras of the Big Dipper bloodline were shining. The sacred constellation had successfully awakened the 7 stars of the Big Dipper bloodline, reaching the 3rd level of the divine level. No wonder he was so confident. "Lu Ming, I know that you've awakened a 2nd level divine level blood meridian. I can crush you now." Xing Xingqian's eyes were bright and full of confidence. Back in 9 Dragons, the blood meridian that Lu Ming had displayed was a 2nd level divine blood meridian. "Nonsense. Hurry up and attack. I'll give you 3 chances to attack. Try your best. This is the last chance I'm giving you. You won't have a chance to attack in the future." Lu Ming berated coldly. "You're talking big die." The Saint constellation was boiling with starlight, and it condensed into a starry long sword. It exuded a terrifying aura and stabbed toward Lu Ming's dantian. He wanted to cripple Lu Ming's cultivation in one move. Whoosh! The starry longsword cut through the void like a shooting star streaking across the sky at an extremely fast speed. However, Lu Ming stood still as if he did not see the sword gleam. He did not even release his protective essential core. "You're acting. I'll see how you die if you're acting in front of me." Xing Xingqian's eyes were cold. His vital essence burst out, and the speed of the long sword increased. Just as the long sword was about to hit Lu Ming, he moved and swung his palm. Bang! When the palm hit the star's sword crumbled like tofu. Xing Xingqian was so scared that his eyes almost popped out. He exploded with all his power to stop his body from moving forward and retreated backward. After retreating 1,000 meters, Holy Star finally stopped. Then, his face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This was not because he was injured by Lu Ming. He had originally continued to charge forward, but he had forcefully stopped his body and retreated. This reversal was too great. Under the surge of his essential core, he had suffered internal injuries. Damn it! Holy Constellation roared in his heart, and his ashamed face turned green and red. Lu Ming had not even made a move and he had already injured himself. It was really embarrassing. However, Lu Ming's slap just now was truly shocking. It had actually destroyed his sword gleam so easily. He had retreated in shock. What an idiot. First move, 2 more moves, treasure the opportunity. Lu Ming smiled faintly, his smile was full of contempt. Die. Lu Ming, go to hell. 7-star heart-killing sword. The Saint Starlight roared and its eyes turned red. The Big Dipper glowed in the endless void. It seemed to have turned into a sword light, falling from the sky and slashing at Lu Ming. This strike was extremely terrifying. It was several times stronger than the previous one. On the side, the other young men had grave expressions on their faces. The battle prowess of the sacred constellation had made them serious. In an instant, the sword light landed on Lu Ming's head. However, Lu Ming did the same as before and slapped him. With a bang, the sword light shattered. It was no different from the last time. At the scene, the others were stunned. It was beyond the expectations of many people that Lu Ming could defeat the attack of the Holy Constellation so easily. Lu Ming's combat strength is not weak, Wang Qin said, but his tone was still relaxed. That was because the sacred constellation was no different from an ant in his eyes. Even if Lu Ming was stronger than the sacred constellation, he was just a slightly stronger ant. He did not take it to heart. Although Lu Ming's combat strength isn't weak, compared to a prodigy like Wang Qin, there's still a huge gap. It's dangerous for him to stay here. In the valley, Gong Fei and Meng Jia had already finished recuperating and were looking outside with worried looks. Lu Ming looks very calm. He knows that Wang Qin is here, but he still dares to stay. He must be confident. We'll see how things go. If things don't look right, we'll charge out together. When Lejang said, "There's still one more move." Holy Star, is this all you've got? What a disappointment. Lu Ming smiled faintly. How is that possible? How is that possible? Holy Constellation roared in disbelief in his heart. Chapter 934. 934 Chapter 934 Ruined Sacred Star. Back in the Tianxin region on his wedding day with Mulan, he was defeated by Lu Ming. He swore that one day he would return the favor tenfold. He would defeat Lu Ming. For this reason he cultivated with great effort. With the help of the Shangguan family he made rapid progress. At that time he also heard the news that Lu Ming had entered 9 dragons and even beat up his mother. At that time he wanted to seek revenge on Lu Ming. However, later on there was news that Shangguan Jingjue, the pride of the Shangguan family, had been killed. Later on there were more and more news of Lu Ming fighting against other pride of the Shangguan family. It was obvious that Lu Ming's combat strength had surpassed his. This made him jealous and mad. It made him cultivate even more desperately. He wanted to awaken the divine bloodline and suppress Lu Ming. However, before he could awaken his divine bloodline, Lu Ming had overpowered everyone at the social gathering and even defeated the prince of the ancient dynasty in the central continent. Later on, it even directly triggered the war in 9 dragons. In that battle, not only was his grandfather Shangguan Zhongyuan killed, but even the supreme being of the Wang family was almost killed by Lu Ming. After that, Lu Ming even managed to escape from 9 dragons. After that battle, Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. However, the sacred constellation was not discouraged. He believed that Lu Ming had only relied on the divine 9-dragon cauldron in that battle. He did not know what method Lu Ming had used to control the divine 9-dragon cauldron. Even without the divine 9-dragon cauldron, he could still defeat Lu Ming. Later on, he had successfully awakened a 3rd-level divine bloodline, greatly increasing his confidence. During the Battle of Providence, he had obtained a great opportunity, and his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, reaching the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. He was even more confident and felt that he could easily crush Lu Ming. However, everything that had happened just now, including Lu Ming's 2 simple moves, had completely crushed his confidence. It turned out that in front of Lu Ming he was so small and vulnerable. No, I must kill him. I will. Saint Constellation's eyes were bloodshot. He immediately performed the bloodline fusion and transformed into a 7-star bloodline. He burst out with absolute power and charged toward Lu Ming. If he did not kill Lu Ming he would not be at ease. His heart of martial arts would collapse, and it would be difficult for him to make any progress in his martial arts cultivation. The vast starlight pressed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not even look at it. He directly punched the starlight. Boom. The starlight trembled and a scream came from within. Then the starlight collapsed and transformed back into the shape of the holy star. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and fell to the ground like a pool of mud. He lay there in despair. His aura was low and there was no fluctuation of true essence at all. Lu Ming's punch just now had already destroyed his spirit embryo and crippled his cultivation. I've said that those 3 moves are your last chance to attack. Lu Ming cast a cold glance at the sacred constellation and no longer looked at him. On the side, the other young men retreated in shock. They were also prodigies, but their battle prowess couldn't compare to the sacred constellation, so they were naturally shocked. Wang Chen, it's your turn. Lu Ming shifted his gaze to Wang Chen. You think you can fight me just because you defeated a piece of trash? What a joke. Fine, I'll let you see how big the gap between you and me is. Wang Chen laughed contemptuously as he slowly took a step forward. With every step he took, his aura grew stronger. Boom, boom, boom. The top-grade purple heavenly fire on Wang Chen's body shot up into the sky. It was as if half of the sky had been dyed with a layer of purple light. The flames roared and Wang Chen's eyes turned cold. 5th-level spirit embryo realm. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint cold smile. The 5th level of the spirit embryo realm was only 1 level higher than Lu Ming's. Wang Haoxian, watch how I cripple him. After I cripple him, I'll cripple your cultivation and sell you off after the Battle of Providence is over. I'll let you know the consequences of betraying the Wang family. Wang Chen's voice spread far and wide, causing Wang Haoxian's face to turn pale. Wang Chong said something similar before, but he's already dead. Now, I'll send you down to accompany him. Lu Ming said in a cold voice. You killed Wang Chong? Then you deserve to die even more. Wang Chen's killing intent soared. He took a step forward and threw a punch at Lu Ming. With 4 intense Riva levering around him, he activated the prison suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch as well. Boom. The 2 fists collided and the air trembled. Wang Chen's body swayed and he staggered backward. Lu Ming, on the other hand, did not retreat a single step. The others widened their eyes and gasped in shock. How was it possible that Lu Ming could force Wang Chen to retreat with 1 punch? Although the crowd was shocked when Lu Ming crushed the sacred constellation so easily, it was just a surprise. No one thought that Lu Ming could fight Wang Chen. There was a huge difference between the Holy Star and Wang Chen, and there was no way to compare. Wang Haoxian's eyes shone with a shocking light. In the valley, when Qishir, Gong Fei and Meng Jia's eyes suddenly lit up, revealing a look of surprise. Wang Chen, on the other hand, was furious. Damn it! Wang Chen bellowed, his killing intent soaring. He had actually been forced back by Lu Ming. This was completely different from what he had expected. He had expected to beat Lu Ming half to death with a single punch. Lu Ming, you must have used all your strength in that punch just now, right? But let me tell you, I only used half of my strength. Don't think you can stop me? Wang Chen said coldly. Oh, was it? I only used 20% of my strength just now. Lu Ming said casually. Nonsense, you're talking big. Strength can't be determined by words. Die. Wang Chen's aura grew even stronger as he punched out with his divine fist of flames, sending heaven and earth into chaos. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He was not wrong. He had only used 20% of his strength just now. However, obviously no one believed him. Then let the facts speak for them, Slaviers. He stepped forward and threw another punch. This time the power was even stronger. It collided with Wang Chen's fist again, and Wang Chen was forced to retreat again. This time, there was a look of disbelief in his eyes. His strength had increased and Lu Ming's strength had increased as well. He could not accept that Lu Ming could still crush him. At the same time, he was a little shocked. Could it be that what Lu Ming said just now was true? Did he really only use 20% of his strength? Impossible, it was impossible. Kill? A cold killing intent burst out from Wang Chen's body. His bloodline emerged and 5 golden chakras dazzled as he transformed into a ball of purple flames. Divine level rank 5 bloodline. In fact, most of the top 100 on the list of top 1000 talents had 5th grade divine level bloodlines, and only a few had reached 6th grade divine level. One should know that the 6 supreme martial artists of the 6 great ancient families only had 6th level divine level bloodlines. How many supreme martial artists were there in the entire East continent? They were all accumulated over the years. Whoosh! The flame turned into a sword and slashed down at Lu Ming. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded as Lu Ming burst out with 2 streams of dragon energy. His body swelled and scales appeared on his skin, making him look demonic. Bang! He threw out a punch and it hit the flame sword heavily. The sword made a violent sound and kept shaking. Sparks flew in all directions and the sword was sent flying. Chapter 935. 935. The Great Battle with Nangong Bo. Lu Ming took a series of steps and punched continuously. His fists were like 2 huge iron hammers, constantly bombarding the flaming sword. The flaming sword trembled violently and had no power to fight back. At the side, the other members of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace looked at this scene in shock. Their eyes widened and they could not believe it. Wang Chen, ranked 43rd on the list of top 1000 talents, had been completely suppressed by Lu Ming. He could not even fight back. Who would have believed it if they had not seen it with their own eyes? Back at the Nine Dragons 3-sect exchange meet, Lu Ming was indeed very strong. However, there was still a huge gap between him and the top 100. How long had it been since then and Lu Ming had already reached this stage? Everyone in the top 100 was a prodigy among prodigies. Lu Ming had improved and so had they. It could only be said that Lu Ming's improvement was too terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. The iron fist continued to bombard the flaming sword. Finally, with a loud bang, the flaming sword exploded and turned into flames. The flames drifted back and then condensed back into Wang Chen's appearance. However, the current Wang Chen was in a sorry state. His face was pale and blood was flowing out of his mouth. His aura was weak and it was obvious that he was seriously injured. He looked at Lu Ming in shock and retreated rapidly. Lu Ming stepped forward and charged forward. Today Wang Qin must die. Nangong Bo, save me. Wang Qin shouted as he retreated. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he continued to charge forward. Stop. Die. A young man shouted coldly. He stepped on the air and pointed his finger. A phoenix's cry was heard and a fiery red phoenix flew out and pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He threw a punch and crushed the phoenix, then continued to attack Wang Qin. How dare you? You don't seem to have heard what I said. The young man's eyes were cold and his body glowed. With a tremble, he appeared in front of Wang Qin, his eyes emitting a sharp light. A terrifying aura burst forth from his body, far above that of Wang Qin's. Nangong Bo, ranked 32nd on the list of top 1,000 talents, was a heaven's favorite of the Nangong family, one of the 6 great ancient families. Nangong Bo is about to make his move. In the valley, when Zhongli's eyes turned serious, the spiritual fire between his eyebrows jumped, ready to attack at any time. Nangong Bo was not someone Wang Qin could compare to. Nangong Bo, if you block me again I'll kill you too. Lu Ming shouted coldly and pressed forward. He kill me as well. Let's see how you're going to kill me. Nangong Bo's eyes were cold, and the fiery red light on his body became even stronger. That kind of light seemed like fire, but it wasn't fire. There seemed to be a phoenix's long cry in the light. The Azure Phoenix Spirit Seal was the Nangong family's strongest technique. Get lost. Lu Ming's answer was very simple. He threw a punch. Nangong Bo struck out with his palm and a phoenix's cry rang out. A phoenix condensed and flew towards Lu Ming. As it flapped its wings, a terrifying killing intent overflowed. This was a phoenix condensed from the Blue Phoenix Spirit Seal. It had terrifying power and looked good, but it was filled with killing intent. Lu Ming's fist collided with the phoenix without a sound. However, Lu Ming's expression changed and he could not help but take a few steps back. He felt a tearing pain on his fist. He glanced around and found that the scales on his fist had cracked and blood was oozing out. What a terrifying Azure Phoenix Spirit Seal. It was silent and deadly. Furthermore, Nangong Bo's cultivation was also very frightening. He had reached the early stage of the 6th level Spirit Embryo realm, and his strength was much stronger than Wang Qin. Buzz. The cry of the phoenix rose again as Nangong Bo stepped forward. With a wave of his hand, another phoenix flew out, filled with killing intent. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. He was extremely powerful. Then I'll kill you too. Lu Ming snorted coldly and the dragon energy in his body burst out again. With the eruption of 5 dragon energies, Lu Ming's strength increased by several times. With a single punch, the phoenix crumbled. Why would I? Nangong Bo was shocked. He waved his hands and 2 phoenixes rushed out. Lu Ming waved his fists, courageous and unrivaled. The true energy in his body whistled, and the 4 concepts were activated. He circulated the prison-suppressing heaven technique, and its power was extremely strong. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming strode forward, breaking down madly. Nangong Bo's expression was extremely unsightly. The phoenix's cry continued, and his entire body glowed. His fingers continued to form seals in the air, and another phoenix flew out. This phoenix seemed to have a breath of life, and its power was even more powerful. Lu Ming continued to punch for a few days. The sky was like a thunderclap. He punched 8 times in a row before he finally broke the phoenix. However, Nangong Bo condensed another phoenix. Nangong Bo was indeed very powerful. The Heaven's Pride experts who were ranked higher on the list of top 1,000 talents would have a higher combat strength than those who were ranked lower on the list, even if they were at the same cultivation level. Otherwise, how could they be ranked at the top? Behind Nangong Bo, Wang Qin was overjoyed. With Nangong Bo around, he wouldn't die. A sinister glint flashed in his eyes as he pondered how he could kill Lu Ming. Today he was actually crushed by the people inside. He had lost a lot of face and must take revenge. His eyes flashed as he looked at Wang Haoxin. He sneered and flew towards Wang Haoxin. What are you doing? Wang Haoxin was shocked and quickly retreated. Since Lu Ming is so concerned about you, I'll kill you in front of him. Hehe. Wang Qin sneered. He wanted to kill Wang Haoxin in front of Lu Ming and distract Lu Ming so that he would be killed by Nangong Zhan. Wang Qin, you're looking for death. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he kept punching. However, Nangong Bo's combat strength was so strong that he was holding Lu Ming back. For the time being, Lu Ming could not break out. Hee, I'm indeed anxious. Wang Qin laughed coldly and walked towards Wang Haoxian. Buzz. Suddenly, the space lit up and countless inscriptions glowed. A formation appeared and several ice dragons formed, pouncing towards Wang Qin. Wen Zhishi. Wang Qin was furious. Flames filled the air as he fought the ice dragon. However, he had been injured by Lu Ming earlier and his combat strength had been weakened. He could not break this array at all. Wen Zhishi, Gong Fei and Meng Jia stepped through the air. With every step they took, runes would appear under their feet. Runes would appear in the air. Not good, they're setting up a formation, stop them. Kill? At the side, the other geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace roared. Their true energy exploded and they charged towards Wen Zhongli and the others. However, the formation glowed and the ice sword pierced through the air. A few heaven's favorites screamed as they were killed by the ice sword. Wen Zhishi, how dare you kill the supreme talent of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace? You must die. Nangong Bo bellowed. You should worry about yourself. 9 dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. He transformed into 9 dragons. Nangong Bo's pupils shrank. A fiery red phoenix appeared above his head. It was also a level 5 divine level expert, and he had transformed into a phoenix. Roar. The 9 dragons roared and the devouring power burst out. He stepped into the void and used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps. The phoenix let out a long cry and also used its killer move to fight against the 9 dragons. A dragon and a phoenix fought in the sky. It was as if they had returned to the ancient times when hundreds of beasts fought for supremacy and the dragon and phoenix fought. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had been exchanged. The more Lu Ming fought, the braver he became. He began to suppress Nangong Bo. Phoenixes and true dragons were on the same level, but the 9 dragons were stronger than ordinary true dragons. They were known as the top 10 battle beasts, the 10 most powerful divine beasts in the world, and their battle strength was unparalleled. Even if the bloodline level was the same, the 9 dragon bloodline could suppress the phoenix bloodline. Chapter 936. 936 The 9 Great Forbidden Grounds. Puchi. The 9 dragons showed their might and tore one of the phoenix's wings. The phoenix let out a wail, and its aura weakened as it rapidly retreated. The 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps of the 9 dragons' footwork chased after the phoenix, and its 9 claws struck out in succession. Wounds appeared on the phoenix's body. It wailed and its eyes were filled with fear. With a final cry, the phoenix turned around and ran. It turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the distance. Nangong Bo had escaped. Lu Ming did not pursue him. Nangong Bo's combat strength was very strong, and his cultivation was 2 levels higher than his. Even if Lu Ming could win, it would not be easy to kill Nangong Bo. Run. Nangong Bo's escape caused the people of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace to be in a state of chaos. Each and every one of them cried out in fear and wanted to escape. However, the inscriptions around them glowed and a formation appeared, trapping them. Wen Zhishi, Gong Fei, Meng Jia, and Ji Mai attacked at the same time, trapping them in the area. Lu Ming, who had transformed into the 9 dragons, took a step forward and appeared in front of Wang Qin. He looked at him coldly. No, damn it. Wang Qin was terrified, his entire body emitting cold air. He had never expected Lu Ming to be so terrifying that even Nangong Bo was not his match. He was seriously injured by Lu Ming and had to escape alone. Lu Ming did not use his full strength in the battle with him just now. Oh! Lu Ming grabbed with his claws. Puchi. Although Wang Qin tried his best to resist, one of his arms was still torn off. He screamed in pain, his eyes filled with despair. Lu Ming transformed back into his human form. He stepped forward and punched out with both fists. Bang! Bang! Wang Qin was completely unable to resist and was severely injured. In the end, Lu Ming punched his dantian, shattering his spirit embryo and turning it into a waste. Ah! Wang Qin screamed hysterically, his voice filled with despair and hatred. Lu Ming, you'll die a horrible death. How dare you offend the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and His Majesty, the Martial Emperor? After the Battle of Providence is over, you'll definitely die at His Majesty's hands. You definitely will. Wang Qin let out a venomous cry. With his cultivation crippled, he knew that he was finished. Even if Lu Ming did not kill him, he would die in this world. Wang Haoxin, if he wants to kill you, then I'll let you kill him. Lu Ming looked at Wang Haoxin. Wang Haoxin stepped on the air and formed a long sword of fire in his hand. He looked at Wang Chen with a murderous look. Wang Haoxin, you bitch. You betrayed the Wang family and the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. You will die sooner or later. Wang Chen shouted. Whoosh. The sword light slashed across and Wang Chen's head flew far away. Ah no, spare me, spare me. I don't want to die. The other paragons of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace started to beg for mercy. However, when Zhongli and the rest did not show any mercy, a formation appeared and not long after, everyone from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was killed. Lu Ming controlled the bloodline of the 9 dragons and devoured the blood essence of the disciples of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, turning them into dried corpses. When Qini and the rest looked at Lu Ming's blood meridian in shock. It was the first time they had seen such a domineering bloodline. Lu Ming, thank you very much for this. When Zhisher stepped forward and cupped his fists. On the side, Gong Fei and the Meng family members bowed in unison. Their eyes were filled with surprise and even shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. He had completely surpassed them. Now, in terms of combat strength alone, Lu Ming could be ranked in the top few among the 14 candidates of the Talisman Amulet sect. There were only a few who could surpass Lu Ming. The key was that Lu Ming had improved too quickly. If this continued, he would surpass most of the people and be on par with Huan Zhen. You're too kind. We're all from the same sect, so it's only right for us to help each other. Furthermore, before the Battle of Kismet, the elders also instructed us to be united. Lu Ming smiled. When Xingyi and the rest had a better impression of Lu Ming. He was powerful, but he was not arrogant or overbearing. He gave off the feeling of a spring breeze. They knew that Lu Ming was someone they could befriend. Brother Wen, Brother Gong, there are still many of our Talisman Amulet sect's senior and junior brothers not far from here. Let's meet up there. Lu Ming said. All right. When Zhongli and the rest nodded. Together with Lu Ming, they flew towards the gathering place of the Talisman Amulet sect disciples. On the way, Lu Ming also understood why Wen Qini and the rest were being attacked. It was obvious that the Talisman sect had been targeted in the Battle of Providence. Not only the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, but even the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Sky Demon Valley would either kill or capture the Talisman Amulet sect's disciples and help them break some of the array formations in the ruins. During this period of time, many Talisman sect disciples had died. When Zhongli and the other two had also bumped into Wang Qin, Nangong Bo and the rest. Without a word, Wang Qin and the rest had attacked Wen Zhongli and the rest. If it were not for Wen Zhongli and the rest desperately setting up a defensive formation in the valley while Nangong Bo and Wang Qin had the mentality of a cat-and-mouse game and wanted to play slowly, they would have been in danger before Lu Ming arrived. Lu Ming and Ji Mai gritted their teeth. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the other 2 great powers really thought that the Talisman Amulet sect was easy to bully. The 5 of them chatted as they flew. Suddenly the 5 people's eyes moved and they all stopped. The books of destiny appeared in front of the 5 of them. Lu Ming looked at the Book of Destiny and saw a line of words appearing on it. One of the totem pillars had appeared in the 9 forbidden grounds, and only by gathering all 10 of them could one open the ancient city of Providence. The totem pillar? Could it be that the ultimate treasure to open the ancient city of Kismet is this so-called totem pillar? Ji Mai's voice was filled with shock. The 5 of them put away the Book of Destiny and looked at each other. It was obvious that the 5 of them had received the same information. That should be the case. The totem pillars are the key to opening the ancient city of Providence. I didn't expect one of them to be in one of the 9 forbidden grounds, and one of them has already appeared. I wonder who has it. When Lezhang said. Lu Ming knew about the 9 forbidden grounds as well. Previously, he had learned from the 3-eyed god that there were 9 most dangerous places in this world. The 9 forbidden grounds that the 3-eyed god race called the Forbidden Grounds were precisely the 9 forbidden grounds. The 9 forbidden grounds were many times more dangerous than the other ruins. This world was very strange. There were some relics that were not very dangerous to Lu Ming and the others, but they were fatal to the 3-eyed god race. Once the 3-eyed god race set foot in them, they would be wiped out immediately. These legacy sites seemed to be specially designed to test Lu Ming and the others who were participating in the Battle of Providence. This made Lu Ming feel even more that there seemed to be an inexplicable big hand behind his back that was controlling everything. As for the 9 forbidden grounds, they were the most dangerous of all dangers to the three-eyed god race. Lu Ming had learned about it before, but he did not think about going there. He guessed that the 9 forbidden grounds were the most important places for testing. There must be amazing treasures in there, but they were often accompanied by danger. If one went there before he had the ability, he would be courting death. But now it seemed like he had no choice but to go. Because even if he didn't go, others would go. Chapter 937. 937 The Sky Poison Island. The Battle of Karmic Luck was divided into 2 stages. The first stage was about a year's time. It was mainly a trial process. During this process, they would explore some ruins and treasure lands to obtain opportunities and obtain fate value. There was also the method of obtaining luck through killing. During this process, he could also continuously improve his strength. The second stage was to open the ancient city of Providence and start the final battle. However, in order to open the ancient city of Providence, there were some conditions. For example, one had to gather some specific treasures before the ancient city of Providence would appear. Only when the ancient city of Providence appeared would the value of Providence obtained from the Battle of Providence be of great use. It would be able to truly turn into Providence, allowing one's sect, family and friends to obtain great benefits. If he couldn't activate the ancient city of Providence, the Battle of Providence would end once the time was up. The Providence he had obtained during the process would be useless, and it would mean that he had failed in the Battle of Providence. Other than some opportunities that he had obtained during this period of time, there was no other use. Therefore, opening the ancient city of Providence was the key. It was obvious that the ancient city of Providence had been opened using the same totem pillars. In the 9 forbidden grounds, only by entering the 9 forbidden grounds could one obtain the totem pillars. And now, someone had already obtained a totem pole. Needless to say, obtaining a totem pole would definitely give him a huge amount of luck. The few of them looked at each other. Lu Ming said, "The forbidden area closest to us is one of the 9 forbidden areas, the Sky Poison Island. Let's go to the meeting place first and discuss our next move," Lu Ming suggested. The group nodded and continued flying. Not long after, the group returned to the Talisman Amulet sect's gathering place. The Talisman sect's disciples were naturally overjoyed to see Jianghu and the others. After that, Lu Ming gathered the Talisman Amulet sect's disciples to discuss the 9 forbidden grounds. It was obvious that everyone's book of destiny had received the same message. Many people shook their heads and chose to back out. "I'm not going either. The 9 forbidden grounds definitely contain great opportunities, but they are also extremely dangerous. At the same time, all the geniuses will definitely gather in the 9 forbidden grounds, which are the places where the strongest geniuses fight for. Even if I go, I won't be able to obtain any opportunities." Jima shook his head and sighed. Although he was quite powerful, he was still far from the top 1,000 talents on the list. Then Mengjia shook her head, indicating that she was not going. In the end, only Lu Ming, Wen Jisher and Gong Fei decided to go. As for the other Talisman sect disciples, they planned to gather together and find a good place to inscribe a large formation. They would use it as their base camp and then explore the nearby area to obtain opportunities. Lu Ming nodded. This was the best choice. If one didn't have enough power, going to the 9 forbidden lands would just be throwing their lives away. After the discussion, Lu Ming, Wen Jianghu and Gong Fei bade farewell to the rest and flew in the direction of one of the 9 forbidden areas, the Sky Poison Island. "Xiao Jin, increase our speed," Lu Ming urged as he sat cross-legged on the back of a fierce golden tiger, Wen Jisher and Gong Fei. "Roar." The golden tiger let out an unwilling roar. The golden tiger was naturally the Vajra. At this moment he had grown to more than 20 meters long. He stepped on the air and ran at an extreme speed. In his heart he was roaring furiously. Forget it that Lu Ming treated him as a mount. He even let others ride on him. Forget it that he let others ride on him. But why did he call him Xiao Jin? Xiao Jin. He was a peerless genius of the demon race with 50% of the divine beast bloodline. Lu Ming actually called him Xiao Jin. King Kong almost vomited blood. His name was so powerful, but he was called Little Gold. When Lu Ming first called out, King Kong was against it, as if he would rather die than submit. When Lu Ming said, "You want to have a taste of the god-splitting array again, right?" King Kong could only accept his fate, his heart full of resentment towards Lu Ming. "What are you shouting for? Are you trying to scare me? Hurry!" Lu Ming slapped King Kong's head, causing King Kong to grimace in pain and run away. He had already cursed Lu Ming tens of thousands of times in his heart. When Jisher, Gong Fei's head was covered in cold sweat. He was truly convinced by Lu Ming. To actually be able to tame a demon race's heaven's pride as a mount and even make it so submissive, it was truly amazing. The three of them closed their eyes and rested on the back of the Vajra. The Vajra was running extremely fast. Not long after, they crossed a distance of over 1,000,000 li. This place was not far from the Sky Poison Island. Lu Ming had Vajra transform into his human form while Lu Ming, Wen Jisher and Gong Fei changed their appearances and clothes. They concealed their auras and flew toward the Sky Poison Island. The Talisman Amulet sect was being targeted and Lu Ming was the target of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace and the Sky Demon Valley. It would be troublesome if he appeared with his true appearance. It was better to disguise himself. After changing their appearances, the four of them flew forward. It was getting more and more desolate ahead. There were mountains everywhere, but on the mountains, there was a dead silence and no life. Tens of thousands of miles later, there was a large depression in the mountains. It was a huge lake and it was difficult to see the end. On the surface of the lake, green fog was spreading, blocking one's line of sight. One couldn't see far at all. One could only vaguely see that in the center of the lake, there was a huge object. It was the Sky Poison Island. On the lakeshore there were many figures standing. They were only looking into the distance and no one flew into the lake. When they saw Lu Ming and the rest, they only cast a cold glance at them and turned away. Buzz, buzz. The sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A few figures flew over from the distance and landed on the lakeshore. These people had thick demonic chi. They were the talents of the heavenly monster tribe. This is the Sky Poison Island. A few of the demon race's heaven's favorites looked excited. "Why don't you guys go in?" A young man from the demon race who was wearing colorful clothes asked the others. "Can't you see? The surface of the lake is filled with poisonous gas. How do we cross it?" A human youth said. From his clothes he should be a genius of the Heavenly Corpse sect. A mere poisonous gas is enough to stop all of you. What a bunch of trash. You still want to fight for the totem pole? Go home. The colorful clothed young man sneered. He stepped on the air and turned into a colorful python flying toward the lake. The paragon of the Heavenly Corpse sect sneered. The colorful giant python was very fast. In a few breaths, it had rushed into the lake and into the green mist. However, as soon as he charged into the green mist, he let out a shrill scream. His colorful body actually let out a sizzling sound and began to rot. The colorful giant python desperately flew back, but after flying for a few miles, it fell into the lake with a scream. Its body rotted and soon only white bones were left. What a terrifying poisonous gas. Lu Ming, Wen Jisher and Gong Fei's eyes turned grave. The rainbow-colored giant python had already reached the 7th level, which was equivalent to the cultivation of the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. Yet it was unable to put up any resistance and was poisoned to death. How did this happen? The expressions of the other demon race heaven's favorites who came with the colorful python changed. What an idiot. Didn't you do any investigation before coming here? The poisonous gas in this lake is extremely poisonous, and it's impossible to cross it. But every 3 months the poisonous gas in the lake will dissipate for 7 days, and that's the best chance to enter the Sky Poison Island. Now there's still half a month before the poisonous gas dissipates. Just wait. The paragon of the Heavenly Corpse sect sneered. Chapter 938. 938 Demonic Lord Luo Tian. The expressions of Lu Ming, Wen Qini and the rest changed slightly. They had not known about this beforehand. If they had not been more cautious and rushed in rashly, they would have been in danger. No wonder these people were all standing by the lakeshore and didn't go over. Lu Ming and the rest observed for a while and left the place. Since there was still half a month before the poisonous fog dissipated, they found a place nearby to cultivate and wait for the time to pass. 10 miles away on a small mountain peak, 4 people sat cross-legged, waiting for time to pass. Time flew by and the days went by. There were more and more people in this area, but most of them only took a glance and waited nearby. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Lu Ming and the other three returned to the shore. From the barren mountains around them, figures flew over. Before long, hundreds of people had gathered here. Those who dared to come here to fight for the opportunities were not weak. They were all experts. Of course, there were also those who wanted to try their luck. Boom. In the sky, an extremely powerful pressure spread down, pressing on everyone's hearts. Damn, who is it? Who are you? A burly young man shouted and looked up. But the next moment, his expression changed and cold sweat dripped down his face. In the sky, a black-robed young man stood with his hands behind his back, demonic chi soaring to the sky. His face was sharp and cold, and his eyes were shining like two demonic blades. Luo Tian, the demonic lord Luo Tian. Someone exclaimed. Luo Tian ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Many people's expressions changed and their hearts sank. They didn't expect him to come. This is Luo Tian. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He had killed Luo Tian's younger brother, the little demon Lord Luo Li. It seems like Luo Tian already knows that I killed his brother. Lu Ming's gaze landed on Brother Lidian, who was standing not far away from Luo Tian. It seems like Brother Li Tian didn't die at the hands of the three-eyed god race. Since Brother Lidian was with Luo Tian should have known that he had killed Luo Li. However, he was currently in disguise and had concealed his aura, so he was not afraid. Luo Tian, I didn't know it was you just now. Take back your words. The burly young man's expression was extremely ugly. His eyes were filled with fear as he stuttered. People have to be responsible for their own words. Luo Tian's eyes were cold, but his voice was calm. He waved his hand. A pitch-black blade aura tore through the void and slashed at the burly youth. Let's go. The brawny young man turned around and fled without hesitation. However, Luo Tian frowned slightly and waved his palm again. The power of the saber light suddenly increased. It instantly cut through the void and slashed at the burly youth's head. No! The burly young man roared. The blade light slashed and the stout youth was cut in half. All the other heaven's favorites around kept quiet. The demonic Lord Luo Tian was famous in the Eastern Barren Territory for his ruthless methods. After seeing him today, it was indeed the case. The burly young man had just unintentionally said a word of curse, and he had gotten himself killed. Could be seen how overbearing he was. Moreover, the burly young man was a genius of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. Even if they were from the same sect, he had been killed by Luo Tian because of a single sentence. Luo Tian, you're very impressive. You can only show off your power here. At this time, a mocking voice was heard. Everyone was shocked. Who was it? He actually dared to tell Luo Tian the truth. Did he not want to live? In the sky, a golden light flashed and a figure appeared. It was a golden-haired young man with a jade-like face. He was wearing a golden feather robe and was filled with a luxurious aura. His body emitted a golden light, and in the light, a golden divine bird could be seen flying and chirping. The Golden Yuan. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He recognized the golden divine bird in the light. This was a demon race heaven's favorite. The Golden Pool. Luo Tian slowly uttered a name. His eyes were solemn. The others were also greatly shocked. Although the demon clan of the Sky Demon Valley was not on the list of top 1,000 talents, some of their extremely powerful talents were still eye-catching. The Golden Pool had the bloodline of the divine bird, the Golden Yuan. It was said that the bloodline was at least 60% thick. It could be ranked in the top 5 among the Heavenly Demon Valley's geniuses and was more famous than Luo Tian. No wonder this person dared to look down on Luo Tian. Luo Tian, with me here, don't even think about getting the totem pole on the Sky Poison Island. Jinqi looked at Luo Tian with a cold smile. Not necessarily. Whoever can get it depends on ability, but it also depends on luck and opportunity. Luo Tian said. Ha, luck? Chance? I have the strength to crush everything, why do I need luck and opportunity? Only the weak would say that? Jinqi laughed. Luo Tian's expression was ugly. If anyone else dared to speak to him like this, he would have cut them down with his saber. However, he was not confident about Jinqi. He felt a strong sense of danger from the Golden Pool. The poisonous mist is starting to disperse. At this moment, someone exclaimed. Everyone looked forward and saw that the thick green poison mist was rapidly dissipating as if a strong wind was blowing on the surface of the lake. The scene in the lake also became clear. In the center of the lake was an extremely huge island. It was about 10,000 miles away from the shore. That was the Sky Poison Island. Buzz. The golden pool was the first to move. It turned into a golden light and flew toward the Sky Poison Island. After that, Luo Tian and the other Heaven's Pride experts also began to move. They were all afraid of being left behind as they flew towards the Sky Poison Island. Lu Ming and the other three blended into the crowd and flew together. The journey of 10,000 miles only took a few minutes for them. As they neared the island, many people stopped. The island was covered in dense forests, which was completely different from the outside world. In the sky above the forest, there was a thick green mist rolling like green clouds. However, in the forest below, there was only a faint green mist. Compared to the sky, it was many times thinner. I think the golden pool has already rushed in. Although there is poisonous gas in this forest, it is far from comparable to the poisonous gas in the lake or in the sky. It should be able to resist. That's right, as long as we don't fly into the sky, we should be fine. Let's go. One by one, the figures rushed into the island and disappeared. Let's go. Lu Ming and the other three gathered together and landed in the forest. Chi-chi. As soon as they landed in the forest, they heard a sizzling sound. It was the green mist corroding their protective Zhenyuan. However, it was not very strong, so they could easily block it. The four of them followed the forest and rushed toward the depths of the island. Ah! Not long after, they heard a shrill scream. There's danger. The four of them looked at each other, slowed down, and focused their attention as they headed in the direction of the scream. Soon they found a young man lying on the ground, no longer breathing. A pitch-black poisonous scorpion was lying on the young man's body and biting him. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.